met some incredible people working for Arise News and also worked on some absolutely incredible stories, whether that was the Bataclan attacks, whether that was the Ebola outbreak, or whether that was making a documentary about the first female, first Black, first Asian Vice President, Kamala Harris. There were some truly incredible experiences, including reporting throughout the COVID-19 pandemic on what was happening right here in London, whether that was the deaths of Black and brown doctors or whether that was on kids struggling to go back to school, which included filming my own daughter homeschooling right here at home. It really was formative years in my career in journalism, and met some incredible people and did some incredible work. Can't believe it's been 10 years of Arise News, and here's to many more.
It doesn't really seem like 10 years, does it? But when we started off 10 years ago, it seemed an impossible adventure, but we did it. We got an historic television channel on the air. One of the most important things for me, and again, we covered all the global business stories in our way. It was a great adventure. I'll come on to what's happening today because I happen to think that that's much more interesting. But one of the great things was, it was seeing beginners actually stepping up to the mark and being trained. I enjoyed nurturing them. I enjoyed helping them with their careers and in turn helping Arise become what it is today. The business stories fall one into the other over those 10 years, but it's such a privilege to be reporting on it right now, because I don't think we've ever seen anything like this. We've never seen the volatility, we've never seen the threat of recession, we've never seen the threat of war, and even the way in which we're working has all changed. So these are enormous challenges, and there couldn't be a better place to do it than with Arise. The news happens to be a great business.
Good morning out there. You're watching the morning show here on Arise News. I'm Ruben Abati.
I'm Ayo Mayer Esse.
Welcome back, Ayo. I'm Rufai Osini. I've got a great show lined up for you for the next 3 hours. So sit back, relax, and let's start your day because the morning show begins right now.
The much talked about mega rally of the Labour Party, which was held on Saturday at the Tafawa Balewa Square in Lagos, is still raising dust about hoodlums' attack on Labour Party supporters, popularly called obedience. Despite the attacks by the hoodlums, it did not deter the resilience of obedience from ensuring that the mega rally was successful. However, the presidential candidate of the party, Mr. Peter Obi, fumed at the level of political intolerance exhibited in Lagos following the attack on the party members by hoodlums. The attackers destroyed several buses and other vehicles, leaving many wounded and property worth millions of naira destroyed. Obi, who said the attack was troubling, urged the Nigerian police to fish out those responsible. Joining us later on this show for a chat on the just concluded Lagos rally is Pastor Mrs. Dayo Ekong, Chairperson, Labour Party, Lagos State.
Moving things along, we shall be engaging Dele Momodu, the Director of Strategic Communications of the People's Democratic Party Presidential Campaign Council. And he will be telling us why he thinks Atiku Abubakar will be elected president barely 2 weeks from now. Also joining us on the show is Professor Wukere Ugumba, APC chieftain and Professor of Family Medicine. She will be discussing the campaign activities of the All Progressives Congress in Delta State and their support for Bola Ahmed Tinubu's presidential candidacy in the forthcoming general election.
Let's catch up on news making headlines across the globe. While Ruth Sodiri gives us updates on Africa business activity, Aaron Akerjala will be taking us through sport and activities across the globe. We'll also review today's newspaper with Arise News analyst Emmanuel Afeni. While Audrey Okpa will fill us in on what's trending around the world. It's going to be all that and a whole lot more today on The Morning Show. Welcome back to The Morning Show right here on the Rise News channel. It's now time to take a look at news stories making headlines around the globe. The presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Bola Tinubu, yesterday said he was not against the decision of the Central Bank of Nigeria to redesign the Naira and the drive towards a cashless economy, contrary to insinuations. He said he was only against the disruptive implementation of the policy, but the People's Democratic Party called on the leaders of the APC, including Tinubu, as well as APC state governors, to immediately release billions of Naira notes allegedly in their custody in order to halt the anguish being experienced by Nigerians. Following the advice of the Council of State, Tinubu urged the federal government and the CBN to announce that old notes and new notes, especially the non-withdrawn notes and coins, should coexist as legal tender for the next 12 months to follow examples of countries that successfully implemented similar monetary policies to ease tension in the country. Tinubu in a statement stated that in the past few weeks has been challenging for Nigerians, especially small and medium-scale enterprises, SMEs, the poor and the vulnerable masses, and those whose survival depend on daily cash transactions, saying they have felt the brunt of the combined problems of fuel scarcity and that of new notes. The former governor of Lagos said he felt the pains of market women artisans who experienced low sales because customers did not have cash to make purchases. A lot to talk about.
Yes, good morning, Rufai. Good morning, Doctor. Good to see you. Great to be back here on the show this morning. I was away in Maiduguri, and I wanted to bring it from that angle in terms of even going into the markets there, the impact of the scarcity of the Naira notes on market women, on people, these vulnerable people that the presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has talked about. Now, it's important, and I must praise him for identifying with the sufferings of the people he's talked about as being affected by the Naira redesign policy, especially the scarcity of the new notes. SMEs, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria said that manufactured goods had seen a 25% decline in their sales from their members following the redesign. So it's not out of turn to say that these are the realities on ground. Market women and men have talked about the fact that they've had it challenging in making sales, as when there's no cash available, people would rather opt not to buy at all. So as he mentioned, rightly so, people have felt the impact. However, he's come out clearly to say that there's no contention as to the fact that they're not against the policy. What they're against is the impact and its effect on the Nigerian people, which again, I must commend. He has to speak for the Nigerian people. However, I want to focus more, because of the brevity of time, on one of his recommendations. In this statement he made that was signed by him, he made some recommendations following the Council of State's meeting on Friday, one of which is that they'd asked the CBN to ensure that they pump the markets with new notes, ensure that it is available despite the challenges or shortages that have been experienced in the past few weeks and, shall I say, months. Now, what he mentioned in terms of embracing this opportunity to upgrade our technological infrastructure, particularly in the support of the financial system or financial space, so fintechs. This is an opportunity because we've talked, and I won't belabor the point as to the benefits of this policy and the fact that sometimes in order to get to, in quote, the promised land, there are certain hurdles and difficulties we might face. And so it's important to keep on hammering the fact that we're looking more at the benefits of this redesign policy and that the CBN has not acted illegally. So what are the opportunities this presents for the Nigerian fintech space? I noticed, and I'm sure some people might see that from the beginning of this Naira scarcity and the challenges we experienced in bank transfers, using online payment systems, there has been a reduction in that. So the banks grappled a little with it, not a lot with it at the beginning, and have been able to begin to expand their infrastructure to support this new design, because we're moving into a more cashless society. So can we begin to invest and tap into the brains and the brilliance of technology experts in Nigeria who can, use their expertise to ensure that we are able to accommodate the future of Nigeria, the future of money in Nigeria, beyond the complaints, beyond the hardships? What can we take out of this? We mustn't go through this without at least bringing out something good, something tangible. It is said that necessity is the mother of invention. We can criticize, and I'll end here, we can criticize for a very long time the fact that the CBN seemed ill-prepared to manage the outcome of this policy, but we must begin to look forward and see how we can make this work, because it is for the eventual good of Nigerians.
Dr. Batu?
Okay, over the weekend, a lot of accusations, counter-accusations over the Naira redesign policy and the pain, anguish, frustration that Nigerians are facing, with the PDP spokesperson accusing the APC leadership of hoarding the money, of trying to exchange 22.5 billion into old 1,000 Naira notes. And, the APC kicking back and saying, look, this is pure conspiracy. You don't have any evidence. And then governors, the 36 state governors, also met over the weekend and issued a communique. We also saw, a number of states, Ekiti, for example, Rivers indicating its interest, saying they're also going to join in the suit. Kano, Ondo, drama in Kano, with the governor of Kano shutting down, giving orders that a supermarket should be shut down because that supermarket was not going to collect old notes. But out of all these reactions, the most constructive that I've seen in terms of trying to offer ideas has been the intervention by the presidential candidate of the APC. And he made it very clear in that statement that, one, he's not opposed to the policy. And I think that clarification is important. He says what he's concerned about is the disruptive nature of the implementation and the anguish that Nigerians are suffering, particularly small-scale businesses, particularly farmers, particularly, people in the rural areas. And having laid that out, he offered a number of recommendations. What are these recommendations? Number one, he says to ease the pain of the people, the CBN should do everything it can to get more of the new notes into circulation. Two, he is recommending that even when that has been done, the old notes and the new notes should be allowed to coexist till 2024 for the next 1 year, as according to him, as is done elsewhere in the world, where similar monetary policy had been applied. Three, he wants charges suspended on electronic transactions, bank transfers, on POS, as some kind of measure to incentivize the people to move towards that cashless regime that the government is talking about. Number four, he says fintechs should be involved. He qualified it. Fintechs with capacity should be mobilized into the cash swap program for a period of 90 days. And in this regard, it's just simply echoing something that had also been said by the Vice President, Professor Shimbajo, because he was only last week also talking about these fintechs, and of course, the fintech space is growing, one of the fastest growing, sectors within the economy. So it may be a good idea, to take that suggestion on board. And then, of course, he made one suggestion, which I think is something that should be carefully underlined, which is that there is a role for the National Orientation Agency and the Ministry of Information in this matter. And we've been raising concern about that National Orientation Agency. I don't even know whether that agency still exists. But if it exists, it's been playing posum. And if the measurement of how it's been playing posum can be seen in the fact that nobody seems to hear anything from the National Orientation Agency at critical moments when the people need to be sensitized, either it is election or Naira redesign. If the people in the NOA, if they have issues, they should come to the public space and say so. If they are not ready to do the work, they should be removed. And people who are serious-minded who want to, make use of that agency in line with its mandate should be appointed to the relevant positions. So, of course, the people need to be educated. Sensitization is important. And, at the end of the day, of course, the big development will be this week when the Supreme Court takes on the matter. The federal government has gone to court. The Office of the Attorney General of the Federation has filed, a preliminary objection. Other states, Kano, Ondo, Ekiti, have signaled their interest. Rivers says it will also become a joinder in the suit. And also, the governors, the Governors Forum, the Nigerian Governors Forum that met over the weekend, is also saying that all the attorneys general across the 36 states should look at how they too can be joined in the matter. There are at least other cases. There is another case that was taken to the Federal High Court in Akure by a citizen saying that, look, this cannot work. So this is where we are, but I think whatever happens, Nigerians want access to these new notes. Some people are saying government should respect the rule of law. Yes, nobody is against that. Government should respect the rule of law. But Nigerians are suffering. They don't need to suffer. And it's that disruption that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu identified and tried to provide suggestions to. That, to me, is far more constructive than the abusive politics, of vitriol that we witnessed over the weekend among the two, the major political parties.
Dwight Eisenhower said, a nation that values privilege over purpose will soon lose both the privilege and the purpose. Nigeria has fast become that nation that values privilege over purpose, and that's why we're losing both as we speak. We value so much the privilege of the political class that everything should fall in their hands. Our life is predominantly about the political class, not about the people. But when the political class turns around and say they care for the people, people don't believe them. Because in the first place, most of the problems with the lives of the people are caused by the political class. As regards this Naira policy, it's the political class that is hoarding a lot of the cash that are causing all of these problems. It is not that the banks money have not been released to the banks, but because of connivance with the banks, they are taking the cash. And call it what it is. Because when everybody's part of the grand plot in this country, they keep quiet. Look at the POS operators, charging people an arm and a leg. These same POS operators first complained that, this will disrupt their business. But they are making a killing now in it, and they're not talking any longer. They're charging people 3,000 Naira for 10,000 Naira. They're not talking any longer. Isn't it? Are they supposed to charge people that much? But these are the people that first complained. So when we keep being hypocritical in society and we expect things to change and the politicians act brand new, then I feel for the country. But I'll speak to it. The recommendations given by the AP's presidential candidate, yes, some I take, some I don't take. Number one, I take the fact that the National Orientation Agency should be looked at. I have said that in this show before. Secondly, I don't take that the fact that they should run side by side the old and the new currency. We can make it within the stipulated timeline. Yes, fintech should come on board, but that's what's been done already. And sometimes when politicians talk about fintech, I hope all the money they stashed in their homes, if only they had invested it in fintechs, maybe fintech would be able to use that to build architecture for the digital system. In all of this, removing charges and all of that, but the CBN is doing that already with e-Naira. They're doing that with e-Naira. There's no charges on e-Naira. E-Naira was launched last year. Only 0.5% have adopted it. People can also use that as a payment channel. We have that in place. And the banks too should take responsibility. The banks that have over the years not developed their robust digital infrastructural system, the banks that even find it difficult to pay telcos for USSD, the banks are still owing US telcos for USSD. We all remember when telcos said they were going to shut down USSD before the minister intervened. So when will the bank take responsibility? We'll have to go. I can't say more. I wanted to say more. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll have Rotus to give us updates on global African business activity. Stay with us.
I've been running my business on my own, trying my best to get it to the next level, but I really need some help to get ahead. I know just what to do, I'll vote it for my loans. Overdue by step to my dream business with Vault. Vault is the answer. Salary earners, Vault is entrepreneurs, Vault is get your loans with no collateral. Yeah. Vault is the answer. Quick sign up, Vault is zero paperwork, Vault step by step to your dream business with Vault. By Polaris Bank.
Vault is available to individuals, SMEs, and corporate customers. Download Vault by Polaris Bank from the Google Play Store or Apple App Store to get started today.
Hello guys, do you know that in his renewed Hope 2023 action plan, Bola Tinubu promised to fix our national security by implementing these common sense measures? The Bola Tinubu administration will increase the number of military and security personnel on active duty across the country, introduce modern doctrines and practices to better engage and defeat terrorists, kidnappers and bandits, upgrade weapon systems and introduce greater domestic production of munitions, introduce new border, forest and community security forces specializing in the protection of remote areas and variable terrain, reposition the police institution to focus on its primary duties of community policing and maintaining law and order, improve salaries and welfare for the families of our fallen heroes. This is the man who turned Lagos from a dangerous, often scary place where crime was the norm into a relatively safe and crime-free place it is today. He has the ideas, he has the track record. Vote APC for a safer and more secure Nigeria. This message is powered by the APC PCC Youth Directorate.
When malaria won't show power for your side, it come knock you down. I'm a temp salt gel.
Are you are?
Me I can tell you no say. Malaria my lessons when no get bad days. Oh, bad days come out and it easy to swallow. I got red game changer. I'm a temp salt gel.
Say no to malaria. Yes to life.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Now for business updates across the African continent, Rotus Odiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Yes,
How
good
are
morning.
You today?
Yeah, good to see you, Ira. Welcome back. Good morning to you. Good morning, Doctor. Good morning, Rufai. Good morning to all our viewers. We begin with the Nigerian Economic Summit Group. They released footage from their presidential dialogue with the three front runners for the presidential election. It was Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the APC, Peter Obi of the Labour Party, and Atiku Abubakar of the PDP. I was particularly interested in what to finally hear, Tinubu speak to the NESG and answer a number of questions on a number of issues. He gave a presentation, full presentation on the economy before he began. Talked about giving tax breaks to oil and gas companies to incentivize them to come back to Nigeria. He talked about giving tax breaks to companies to spur them to employ more youth. He talked about incentivizing. It was incentive for youth to go back with respect to agriculture. He talked about adding revenue to the country, removing the fuel subsidies, and that, plugging that revenue back in. Peter Obi talked about, debts. They asked all of them a number of questions. Also, 2 questions from the audience. So it was pretty engaging. Although I think it was January the 13th for Tinubu, the 16th for Atiku, and February the 6th for Peter Obi. So they're on 3 separate days. More engagement. We still want a debate, though. We still want a full-fledged debate with the candidates. We want to hear from them. I'm not sure this close to the election whether or not we are going to get that. Cashless, NIBS, some data from NIBS on the electronic transactions for January. Big spike. 2.37 trillion naira worth, 125% year on year compared to January of last year as far as mobile user transactions. Instant payment volumes, 546 million of them, a 55% climb. but still there are issues with respect to the transactions hanging and with respect to delays. But as the CBN said in the press conference a couple of weeks ago, they're working on it. The payment infrastructure is there, and well, I mean, this is evidence of that big move since we've had the issues with the whole Naira swap and then with the Supreme Court and everything else. So this is just a reflection of the large volumes that we've seen. And speaking of which, Edo State Governor Obaseki says that government operations and government transactions will move cashless on March the 1st. So I believe this is the first state in the country that is making this announcement with respect to them. So, in every crisis, there's an opportunity. I think, if you think about what COVID did with everybody moving to virtual meetings and so on, some states are taking the initiative. So this is just the government and just the government operations in Edo State going cashless March the 1st. Then the fuel pumps. Remember I wasn't here, but last week we were talking about the concept of being able to pay for self-service fuel using cards, which fuel stations, as we know, only take cards when it comes to these transactions for self-service in certain countries. So I had Olumide Afolabi, who is the CEO of Touch and Pay, which is the parent company of the Cowrie cards that Governor Sanwo-Olu talked about with respect to the transportation. But the thing about the technology is that you can layer it and do other things. So I asked him about it, and apparently there is a company that's already working on that. So here's what he had to say.
So there's a company called ePumps. ePump, yeah.
Okay.
They have a product called Remi System Solutions. Remi.
All right.
And they have over 6,000 stations right now where they've put a technology that is integrated into the pumps, and people can actually do self-fuel. They can self-fuel themselves.
This is what we're looking at right now,
exactly.
Yes? Okay.
Exactly. So what we are doing now is that we are integrating the Cowrie card into this technology.
Yeah.
And we're going to be having a dedicated pump for self-service.
Okay.
So the whole idea is that if you have your Cowrie card, you can go in and then you can just, pay, and then you can dispense. And it will dispense only the amount of fuel that you paid for.
Yeah.
So once it is done, the fuel will stop dispensing. So you can't even cheat the system.
So, and the conversation went beyond there. We even talked about integrating identities and using their touch and pay tech even for elections. So if you think about, and the technology that they're using doesn't require the internet. So if you think about loading your card and going to a bus and tapping it, and the money goes from the card to the terminal, and you're able to pay for a bus, the fuel stations, you tap, you pay for your fuel, self-service, you go. If you upload the voter data for using like the new Afrigo card from NIBS and the CBN now, conceptually, with the same tech that they're using, instead of these card readers that they're shoving in and out of these machines and everything else for the PVCs, if theoretically you were to put all that voter information on that card, you could theoretically tap it and the voter information is uploaded. So it's really just, this is, when we talk about tech that you can layer different things on top of, this is what we're talking about here. So it's pretty incredible stuff. Sahara Group and NNPCL have brought 24-hour power to a Ajoki community, which is in Edo State. It's through a 24-hour gas-powered electricity project. And they essentially, it's about 1 megawatt, and it's been able to provide 24/7 power to this small community here in Edo State, something that they've announced, joint project between the two of them. So pretty good news there. And then finally, still on tech, on South Africa, the tragic killing of that rapper, AKA, there was CCTV footage that was released, which is the police are now asking community members to try to assist in identifying the perpetrators. But this is just highlighting as far as, I think this was in Durban where he was killed, unfortunately, only 35 years old. But you have to think about the importance of CCTV and, South Africa, again, the most industrialized economy on the African continent. Really important that this helps in terms of solving crimes and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's our update from the continent.
And it's a great point you raised about the contactless payment thing, and that's why I don't know. You see, it looks almost like madness to me that people couldn't get their PVCs. Because what's on the PVC, for Christ's sake? Yeah. It was just a barcode.
Right.
At the back that you were supposed to scan out, probably a couple of numbers there.
Yeah.
So why couldn't people even be given the paper with their barcode on the day they registered?
rather than coming back and getting it on a plastic card and all of that. So I am happy you've got a lot of these innovations going on. Some oil company, some petrol filling stations have their cards already. So you can just like Total that I know of.
Right.
Have their own card, their specialized card that you can use with their system that never goes bad and all of that.
Yeah.
So you can just use the integration system. But I think for those that have been making the argument about, oh, there's no enough infrastructure for cashless and anything, I think that result, and you see, I like when we deal with empirical data. It shows you the data on ground. So people that are doing all sorts, you can know that they're just funny. They're just being iffy. Yeah. This cashless policy is working. And concerning all those rebates, it's been done before. I remember the early days of POS machine. They used to give cash rebates for using POS.
So what arguments are we making? I'll just say one thing on this, and I hope that other state governors would adopt what Edo State has pioneered, because this is technology tackling corruption. There are ways that you can, close these gaps that you can easily take money off. I heard, millions of money as petty cash. That's ridiculous in the 21st century. So I'm hoping that other state governors would take on this. Like we mentioned earlier on, there are opportunities in diversity, and I hope that this hassle that Nigerians have had to go through in the last few weeks would not be in vain.
Well, you made a point about CCTV being used in the investigation of the suspects in the killing of Forbes, a.k.a. and his friend, at that Durban restaurant. Well, once upon a time, Nigeria toyed with the idea of CCTV. Contracts were awarded. Nothing ever came out of those contracts. And the idea was that there would be pilot zones where Nigeria would deploy CCTV to fight crime. It's one of those mysterious things in Nigeria, whatever happened to the CCTV. In those places where CCTVs were made available in this same country, anytime there was any kind of disquiet, the first thing Nigerians will do is to stone the CCTV or destroy it. So different society, different culture. Most unfortunate incident, involving the rapper, very talented. But I hope the police, they do thorough investigation. About Edo State, saying we'll go cashless on March 1. Yes, the big thing there is the fight against corruption. The government itself used the word transparency. Don't trust civil servants with the handling of cash. So, I don't like the idea of Nigeria being forced, overnight to go cashless. It can be a gradual process. But the transparency part of it is what is most important. And then Asharami Energy, a group in Sahara Energy, with NNPCL, they've done very well. This is stakeholder relations, community development. And the reports indicate that community and the environs are already benefiting from this initiative, gas to power project. It's also clean energy, but I hope that the companies that are involved will be given incentives so that other investors within that axis will be encouraged to do similar things.
Indeed.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much,
thank you
for bringing us the African Business Update. It's time for a short break now. When we return, Aaron Akirijola will be here with Global Sports Update. Stay with us.
As you adjust to the new realities for operating your business and engaging with your customers, let us help you transform your business into a digital powerhouse capable of adapting and taking advantage of today's opportunities. With our best-in-class array of digital solutions, you can conduct your business, receive payments from your customers, and perform transactions quickly, safely, and conveniently, because we've got you covered with the right people, technology, and service offerings. Contact us today and let us take your business to its zenith. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
I'm about to serve better breakfast.
If you're in Lagos, you need to see this.
your disappointment.
I'm not just streaming content. I'm just escaping traffic.
Get more data to enjoy exclusive content. Dial *141# now. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Hi, my people, reason this thing now. When PDP day, our country be safe. Naira strong, economy they grow. Fuel, 7 Naira, rice, 8,000. Our life in better. Oh, when change people come, no work, no food, economy for gutter. Naija boro, banditry full town. Japa left and right, Sapa up and down. No need to gamble, save choice. PDP don't come, save choice. We cover Naija, save choice. We don't tire to suffer, save choice. Experience mind, save choice. We don't want experiment, save choice. Get them right, save choice. This time our life, oh, save choice. We cover Nigeria, save choice. Atiku na the man, oh, save choice. Atiku Anokowa, save choice. Na the only choice, oh, save choice.
Hi, I'm Pato Rankin, and they don't call me world best for no reason. I only deal with the best. Be it auto or business, 100% claim is always guaranteed.
Welcome to World Class Insurance Services. We are Anchor Insurance.
Where insurance truly works.
What an amazing decade it's been. I think for me, what makes it even so exciting is that it's been built on the blocks of telling not just African stories, but authentic African stories that resonate with you as an African at home. I think having been at the forefront of telling some of those big stories from the south side of the continent for me has not only been enriching for me as a journalist, but it's also been a moment where you're able to take the story to the people. I think for me, the Oscar Pistorius trial, bringing it blow by blow to our viewers on the platform, has been one of those big moments for me as a journalist here on Arise. And we say, here's to many more 10 years. Happy birthday.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. For updates on sports stories across the globe, Aaron Akirijola joins us. Good morning, Aaron.
Yes, good morning to you, Ayo. Good morning to you, Doctor. Good morning to you, Rufai. Okay, let's get it started with the Super Bowl 57. Kept me up all night, and I must say that it was well worth it. Yeah. As the Kansas Chief actually stormed to another Super Bowl title, thanks to the heroics from Patrick Mahomes and the entire gang. I must say that kudos to Mahomes, a black man deciding to rise the highest when it mattered the most, and more importantly, for he and his team, of course, he actually picked up the MVP award. So that Vince Lombardi trophy are actually staying in Kansas. Of course, Tega and Nigeria, they're deciding that he will put Nigeria's flag on the map. And they kept on saying that this is for Africa and this is for Nigeria. So kudos to him there. And Nigeria was fully represented at Super Bowl 57, he must actually say. Yeah. But, of course, as a sportsman, I'm speaking as a sportsman right now, and not as an entertainer. Marathon runner. Yeah, Doctor, you must put that in the mix. The reason why I say this is, of course, Rihanna actually headlined the halftime show as usual. For those of us that actually follow the Super Bowl, this is a big deal. And more than any other thing, her pregnancy announcement dominated the performance as against seeing a superlative outing by this showstopper. And more important, some people called her out for also brandishing her makeup line at some point in the Super Bowl, trying to just squeeze that one in.
If so, you will not show it.
I don't know. I don't know.
It was at the very beginning of the performance, so you don't miss it. She just quickly.
She didn't have to do that, but she did it all the same.
Yeah.
Okay, away from that to the Premier League. Manchester City, over the course of the weekend, decided to close the gap to Arsenal by just 3 points, thanks to that massive win against Aston Villa on the day. Of course, Eka Gundogan once again actually scoring against Aston Villa, and as it stands right now, all eyes are on Wednesday's game when Arsenal takes on Manchester City. It could be Arsenal coming back to second if Manchester City wins, or Arsenal can decide to hold Manchester City to a draw.
Perish the thought.
And let's see what happens. But let's talk about controversies that trailed this weekend. Yeah. As a matter of fact, the head of the PGMOL, talking about Howard Webb, apologized to 3 clubs. Brighton over the weekend, Arsenal, who felt they were wrongfully or they were unjustly undone by the VAR, because you can actually see that particular goal, talking about Brentford's goal. Someone was offside, the referee did not call it, or they said they forgot to draw the line. And clearly the man was offside and it didn't actually go well. Chelsea too, we are at the receiving end, because a lot of people have been illustrating what actually happened and who should be offside and who should not be offside. But for Chelsea, if they could actually help us with the clip, there was a blatant handball by Souček in the build-up to one of the goals, and unfortunate for them, the VAR did not even take a look at that, and people have been calling out the VAR once again for refusing. Okay, this was it there. Souček actually handling the ball. It's rather unfortunate things are happening, and Brighton's own too. It's really sad what is happening in the Premier League. The VAR was meant to correct all these errors and actually nip all these loopholes, but here we are. Here we are. Okay. Quickly, Victor Osimhen, still on the goal scoring trail, red hot streak at the moment. He cannot stop scoring. And over the course of the weekend, he actually got another goal, 17 as it stands right now. He's actually edging closer. And we are hearing that they want to give him a new deal, talking about SSC Napoli, to ensure that they actually weighed off all potential suitors. And finally, Real Madrid won the Club World Cup over the course of the weekend. And it was quite historic for the club, the 5th Club World Cup, a dominant performance ultimately. And Barcelona have actually stretched their lead right now. Real Madrid have a lot of catching up to do. Ancelotti has told the players, but for now, they can revel in the fact that they are world champions.
Congrats, Real Madrid. They're world champions again. Another thing I'd like to say is about the VAR. Goodness me, you just destroyed football over the weekend. And apologies are not good enough. Apologies are not good enough. They should make due restitution, and points should be added or deducted.
What kind of restitutions can be done?
No, it's as simple as that. If you know that Souček went down, handled the ball in the penalty yard, a penalty should be given. That game should be awarded 3 points to Chelsea. It's as simple as that. Because
but if you know that doesn't happen in football.
No, but I'm just saying, as a fan now, because if you don't do that, then justice will not be done. Then the reason for the VAR itself bleeds my heart to pieces, has been defeated. You remember the reason? Frank Lampard's goal in 2010 in South Africa, crossed the line, there was a contention. If the VAR that's supposed to stop more contention is bringing more contention, then the VAR has failed. And people cannot just come out to tell us, hard-suffering football fans, there's some of us, we don't do a lot. Valentine is coming, we don't have VAR. It's only football we watch.
There will be more than enough football. More than enough football with Champions League. 2 questions. Okay. Number 1, what's your starting 11 prediction for Manchester City versus Arsenal? What do you predict? Do you think it will be a draw, or it will be an outright win, or it will be an outright win by Man City? And then any news on Christian Asso? It was reported that he was found injured, but now we've been told they're still looking for him. His wife is appealing, to the authorities in Turkey to do more. Quite unfortunate, quite painful. I know how people in Ghana must be feeling now. And then beyond that, our brother Dusium Mubusi, who wants to buy Sheffield. It's alleging racism. Can that allegation stand? When it is standard practice for the Premier League to scrutinize whoever wants to buy any club in the Premier League, given the experience they had with Roman Abramovich. Okay.
So quickly, first of all, on Christian Asu, I don't think the Turkish government have actually done well, because the family and all the children were alleging that they actually heard the news on TV, that no one even contacted them to tell them that, oh, this boy had been rescued and been taken to the hospital. So they were hearing this as the rest of the world were actually receiving the news, which is unfortunate. And people have actually called out the government of Erdogan and said that they've not done enough. They had prior notice, according to reports, that this was coming some years ago. They should have prepared better. They should have actually anticipated this better. Response should have been quicker, but it's unfortunate, and it's a huge referendum on his presidency now that they are approaching an election year. Away from that, of course, without a doubt, Manchester City do have the momentum right now, and they will know that going into that particular game, if Manchester can win, then Arsenal will have to do the chasing. And usually, no one wants to chase Manchester City because it's almost, Liverpool have paid the price for it. They're still paying the price for it. Let's see what happens tonight in the what they call it, in the game between Liverpool and Everton. But I must say that at the moment, you look at all those things and you say to yourself that the sporting world is a gift that keeps giving, I must just say.
I must say kudos to Manchester City that they haven't allowed their off-pitch controversies to affect their on-pitch performance. And so I'm looking forward to it affecting it in the Arsenal game. Though.
Yes, amen. No, by the way, let me just put this one in. Some of the 110 financial infringements have been reduced because they said that there were a lot of lapses in judgment. I don't know. Right now, it's almost in shambles.
We have to go now. Maybe tomorrow you talk about our brother Dozie.
Oh, yes.
Who wants to buy Sheffield United, but we've run out of time.
Always a pleasure.
We'll take a short break now, and when we return, we'll be talking to Dayo Ekong, Chairperson, Labour Party, Lagos State. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Emergencies happen when you least expect them to. It gets worse when you are cash-strapped. No need to despair. First Advance has you covered. You can get that urgent cash right now on First Advance. With First Advance, salary earners can get up to 50% of their salary. No hassles. As long as you earn a monthly salary and your salary account has been active for at least 2 months. It doesn't matter if you run a salary account with First Bank or any other bank. Just dial *894*11# or simply dial *894# on your mobile phone. What's more, when you open a First Bank salary account, you can enjoy 0 charges and free debit card issuance. Download the First mobile app on Play Store or App Store today. Log in to experience First Bank digital banking. Select loans, select First Advance, and follow the prompts to receive your loan. Don't let that urgent need get the best of you. Get First Advance now. It's as simple as dialing *894*11#. First Advance. Fast, convenient, secure. You first. First Bank.
With their so-called experience in 2019, Lagos's poverty rate was 4.5% and today it's 8.5% with 4.2 million Lagosians in extreme poverty. It is only an inexperienced manager that will pump 10 billion naira into an employment scheme to address unemployment rate of 14.6% in 2019. And today, same unemployment rate has gone up to 37.16%, with 1.8 million Lagosians having no jobs. The duo of Jandor and Funke have been investing in Lagos's economy for about 2 decades, running their personal businesses, employing people with track records of success. Lagos needs a breath of fresh air. Vote Dr. Abdulaziz Olajide Adediran Jandor as Governor of Lagos State. PDP! Power to the people!
Just stop it. You stop it. Hey there, you are so stopping it. Our currency is our pride. Let's all treat it well. Let's handle it with care and respect. Remember the cashless policy to reduce your cash transactions by using Naira, POS terminals, the ATM, and USSD codes using your mobile device. Keep our Naira clean and fresh. Be limitless.
This message is from the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. The Labour Party took its presidential campaign to Lagos, where its candidate, Peter Obi, assured Nigerian youths of a better deal through the provision of employment opportunities. But the event was marred by attacks by some hoodlums, suspected to be loyal to the ruling All Progressives Congress. Tokunbo Yetunji has the details.
Labour Party presidential campaign train arrives in Lagos. A special event, a tease for majority of the attendees who are mostly young Nigerians getting involved in the electoral process for the first time. But attending the rally is not a palatable experience for some of them who come into the arena with various degrees of injuries after an alleged attack from some hoodlums on their way to the Tafawa Balewa Square venue of the rally.
So we moved on a flatbed truck and a DJ with convoy of cars. As soon as we got to Jakonde, 2 buses came, stopped by our side, and men came out with cutlasses and guns. And I was the last on the line. A lot of people ran away. They kicked me and they started hitting me with the machete.
Even they are shooting. But we are trying to guide our instruments on the truck that we are using to do the campaign. But they are using that cutlass to pursue us, do everything. Everybody were like running for his life. So I just have to calm down so that they will not wound me with their cutlass. As I calm down, before coming back, they pick all my instruments, vandalize my instrument, carry my player and my light up.
We were attacked on our way coming to this rally at the Adeniji Bridge. Yes, there were many. So when our bus was passing, they were threatening us that they will kill us all. When we slowed down because of traffic, one of them danced towards us from front. So we think maybe he's jubilating with us. The next thing I saw was jackknife. So when he attacked, I shift, then he stabbed me on my laps. Many of our supporters coming for the rally and their vehicles were attacked in different places in Lagos. And of course, people do this when they feel they can get away with it. They act with impunity. But we hope, we are confident that the security agencies, security people will do the necessary thing, will grapple with the situation effectively and restore law and order.
But beyond that unfortunate experience, Music plus plenty other fun activities make the rally a worthwhile event for the Labour Party and majority of its supporters as they listen to leaders and candidates address them on why the party should win political power in the elections that begin in just 2 weeks.
It is time for us to change the status quo in this place. Lagos does not belong to one man. Our Laniko, our Lokon, it is time for us to have roads that work. It is time for us to have a Lagos without traffic. It is time for us to have a safe Lagos. A Lagos where our people are not being attacked all over the place. It is time for a Lagos that will work for you. It will work for me. It will work for all of us.
The time has come for us to say enough is enough. Our people say opportunity comes but once. This opportunity that the 2023 general election behoves on us, we must not allow it to elude us.
Pikin cannot get a good education. Is that right? So I give you Peter Gregory Obi and Yusuf Dati Ahmed, who have promised me that they will give everything they've got to make sure that Nigeria will rise up again.
It is the turn of Mr. Peter Obi to speak. His message is directly to the younger generation of Nigerians on why they need to seize the opportunity of the 2023 elections to start the process of correcting all the things that are wrong with the country by putting the Labour Party in control of affairs.
All your country has done in the past 20 years is to produce insecurity, to produce poverty, to produce joblessness, to produce also strife, fuel scarcity, or one form of suffering or the other. Daddy and I are promising you that we will secure and unite Nigeria. We will secure and unite Nigeria. We will ensure that when we start, after some years, no Nigerian will say, I'm from the West, East, North, but we'll be proud to say, it's a Nigerian.
Recent polls on the upcoming elections suggest that the Labour Party presidential candidate is a front runner. That alone is exciting to Mr. Peter Obi's supporters, though they are well aware that the road to their destination is one still filled with many curves.
100%, I'm sure he's going to win. I have never voted before, but because of Mr. Peter Obi, he's going to win. I'm sure he's going to win. No doubt about that.
So this is the first time that actually Nigerians are coming together to embrace a candidate that they believe has the capacity, the character, the competence, and the compassion, because that's the most important thing, communication. This guy communicates very well.
Peter Obi is an idea whose time has come. No more playing. They are old, but we are taking back our country.
The crowd thins out, but according to Emeka, one of the respondents here, Mr. Peter Obi is an idea whose time has come. For majority of them, they have never done this, that is, attending a political rally like this before, but they're doing it for a candidate in whom they believe so much, and they believe that come February 25th, 2023, Mr. Obi, whom they have just listened to here, will emerge the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Tokunbo Oyetunji, Arise News, Lagos.
Joining us now on the show for a chat on the just concluded Lagos rally is Pastor Dayo Ekong, chairperson, Labour Party, Lagos State. Mrs. Ekong, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, let's start with the violence, because that's condemnable, in the extreme. Nobody should suffer undue hardship for making a choice, for supporting a particular party or candidate. What's the update on the condition of the affected persons? And has the matter been reported to the police? What is the quality of response that you have received from the security agencies. And who do you suspect is behind this attack?
Thank you. Good morning, great Nigerians. Good morning, obedient family. What happened on the 11th of February is a very sad one. And it's sad in the sense that people have been hindered for performing or being a Nigerian and a Lagosian at that. Lagos is nobody's land. If you live and reside in Lagos, you are a Lagosian. And every Nigerian has the right to determine what they want, because Nigerians are tired. Nigerians are fed up of this rule of tyranny right now. And this violence, especially in Lagos State, needs to stop. Let me take you back. Immediately after our mega rally, our flag boy was almost burnt to death at Oshodi. They were stabbed. Ojo, last week, we had another incident where one of our members trying to paste the poster was macheted on the head. And so many other violent ways of treating people. Now, what I want to say is that the 11th of February one is unacceptable. This intimidation, attacks on our members has to stop. It has to stop because every Nigerian has a right to decide what they want. People are fed up, people are oppressed, people are frustrated. We see people trying, some of them even wanting to commit suicide. Some have committed suicide because we are in a country that the suffering in this country is beyond what we can even explain, inexplicable. On the 11th of February, our members were coming to the TBS for the mega rally. They were accosted at different places. Jakonde was the first one we heard, where they saw the obedient poster on their buses, and they came out from nowhere, and they were brutally attacked with severe bodily injuries. You can see it. Why should anyone be subjected to this? After that, by Chevron, the same thing happened. Around Adeniyi Jones, they came out. There's no doubt that this bastardized act is orchestrated by opposition. We heard of something Olatunji led APC guy, and some others have been identified. But the surprising thing is that the police were there on 3rd Mainland Bridge when another attack happened and nothing was done. I think this is unfair when we have a government, when we have police, when we have the DSS, and so many security agents around. They knew we were having our mega rally. Our principal, His Excellency Peter Obi, went to Alaba. And the people that came before him from Alaba were the ones that were attacked on the 3rd Mainland Bridge, where they put a bus to barricade the whole 3rd Mainland Bridge, and we have police patrol on the 3rd Mainland Bridge. We are yet to hear from the police of Lagos State. We are yet to hear from the IG. We are yet to hear from His Excellency Buhari concerning this bastardized acts.
All right. Okay, ma'am. So thank you for opening up with that. They are very grave accusations you've made and a few statements that are concerning, especially for many Nigerians. The first thing I'll ask before I talk about the things you've mentioned is this. The Peter Obi campaign trail has gone across Nigeria in terms of their campaign, and they've had, in terms of your assessment, and now they've come to Lagos on Saturday. Have you had similar experiences in other states? If yes or no, what is peculiar about Lagos State and the rally in Lagos State? That's one. The second part is the fact that you say that the police, you haven't heard from the police. Now, the spokesperson of the police, Mr. Ben Hundeyin, had released a statement saying that it was now with the State Criminal Investigation Department in Ilason Division that they've actually commenced investigations. He condemned the act. So in you saying that you haven't heard from the police, are you saying in terms of them speaking to the Labour Party or speaking on this matter? And final one, because in terms of the responses, have you heard anything from the governor of Lagos State? Because this happened in his state, irrespective of the party he belongs to. He is the governor of everyone in Lagos State, whether they're obedient for APC, PDP, he's governor, he's responsible for everyone.
Let me start from the last one, because the chief security officer in Lagos State is Governor Sanwo-Olu. We were expecting Sanwo-Olu to come out and condemn this act. We're yet to hear from him. There was a debate, the gubernatorial debate yesterday that they had. He wasn't there. Nothing, no response as I speak. And I think this is very unfair for the wellness of Nigerians, for the security of Lagosians. Now, Lagos, as we speak, there's no doubt, because Lagos has the highest voters, has the biggest population right now in Nigeria. And they know that a win in Lagos is victory to Labour Party. A lot of Nigerians have made up their mind. They are tired of what is going on. And we're not going to rest on our oars to make sure that Nigerians are rescued from this suffering, hopelessness that we are in right now. Let me say this. If they are so sure of themselves, for example, the ruling party in Lagos State, all forms of things have been happening, and if they are so sure that they did so well, I see no reason why they should take this step in attacking innocent Nigerians and innocent Lagosians from doing what they are supposed to do. Whether they want it or not, a change is imminent, and they cannot stop us. This movement is beyond even Peter Obi himself, because Nigerians all over the world are crying for a change, for a new Nigeria. And I tell you, a new Nigeria will be birthed come May 29, come February 25th, where we all will go out there and exercise our civic responsibility. The mega rally, irrespective, you can see what happened, irrespective of the fact that there was no fuel, no money in circulation, but the determination of the people for a change is why people went out there en masse to say no to this present government.
Okay, I mean, a lot has been said, so we just want to get some things right.
Yes, please.
Number one, you made a very strong accusation now against a particular faction of the APC.
Yes.
Have you officially written that as a report to the Lagos State Police Command?
We have.
You mentioned, what's this particular APC faction's name?
Tunji something. Tunji something. I'll get it. I don't have...
Okay,
yes. But
you're sure of the name?
Yes, they brought it. The guys, some of the guys that were attacked, because they got, they were able to apprehend some of them. I think the one for the Ajeromi Ifelodun. They called me last night as the chairperson of Lagos State that some of them were arrested.
Who arrested them?
The police. The people actually had to tell the police they identified 2 of them.
Okay.
And they were apprehended yesterday. But as at this morning, I can't tell you categorically if they are still there or if they've been released. What is happening in Lagos is the opposition at it. If Babatunde Sanwo-Olu, Babajide Sanwo-Olu is so sure that they are not part of it, I expect him to come out and tell Nigerians, he owes us that responsibility to secure everybody's life, to come out and tell us that they do not know about this, but that they will investigate and bring all the culprits to book by arresting them.
But you said the Lagos State Police Commander started effecting arrests.
Yes, that is just one. That is the only one we've heard last night.
So are you going to also seek legal means to get redress? Because
definitely.
There are also properties damaged that your party has to pay for now.
Our party has to pay because all
that. What's the extent of damage? What's the cost of damage as we speak?
The cost of damage runs into millions. Because a lot of buses were damaged, a lot of private cars were damaged. Injuries, as I speak right now, some of our members are in the hospital. We have them in different hospitals, including Lutz, because of the injury that were sustained.
Well, the rally in Lagos is supposed to end
the whole
Mr. Peter Obi's tour of various constituencies across the country.
Precisely.
So what is next for the campaign? And then the major criticism that I have seen of that last lap of the campaign in Lagos is that when Mr. Obi arrived in Lagos, he first went to Alaba International Market and, to go and identify with the opinion on it that I read, which is brother traders. And this is against convention. The usual convention will have been for Mr. Peter Obi to go and see the Oba of Lagos. Because most of the other candidates, when they go to a community, they go and see the Oba of Lagos. When Atiku came to Lagos, he went to visit Oba of Lagos. When he went to Abeokuta, he went to see the Alake of Egbaland. When Ashwaju went to the north, he will first visit the traditional ruler in that particular locality. He will not go to Sabo. He will not go to Yoruba community in that state. So the major criticism is that Mr. Obi is playing the ethnic card. That going to Alaba market is like trying to mobilize the dominant Igbo community within that axis. I'm a word of local government area. What do you say to these 2 major issues?
Let me first, people say what they don't know. If you've been following the trend of Obi's campaign rally, he goes to the royal fathers to pay his this thing. Obi made attempts to see the Oba of Lagos, but we were not able to see the Oba of Lagos.
He went to the palace and he was turned back?
No, he didn't get to the palace. Normally, if he's going to the palace, there should have been a prearrangement and informing the Oba that he is on his way. In a situation when they say the Oba is not available, he's not going to go to an empty palace.
So you're saying that he sent a letter to the Oba of Lagos and they denied him
precisely. He's not going to go to an empty palace to see the Oba. The first thing, Mr. Obi respects culture, and that is what he's been doing everywhere. This is the 37th rally. There's no way Obi would have neglected what we term our traditional ruler, the head in Lagos State, and ignore him.
But okay, I said this was the last major rally.
37 states is visited.
Yes, so for you in Lagos, as chairman of the Labour Party Lagos, what's next? Because the election is still 2 weeks away anyway, you still have a little time for campaign. And now that your people are being targeted, particularly some of them who wore Labour Party vests. Yes. Because I saw a video where a gentleman was saying, they were attacking them for wearing Labour party vests. I hope you're using the sash. When you are going, maybe you will have to hide it. Nobody will attack you.
I schooled in the north where there was serious violence. I went to ABU Zaria, I went to Gongola States. I schooled there, and I've always been a student activist. And that is why I identify with the youths. I identify with all Nigerians. And I know that this country, until there's a change where leadership is given into the hands of people who have the capacity, the competence to do the right thing, people who have compassion, because it's obvious that people don't have compassion. The leaders that we have right now don't have compassion for the masses. If not, what is happening right now wouldn't have happened. What is happening right now should have been prevented, because I as a chairperson and the committee, the council, the campaign council, we made sure that we wrote to all the security agencies. They should have prevented this. If they were really working, they should have prevented this. We will not be intimidated. You saw, irrespective of what happened, people still turned out en masse to the rally. They came. There was no fuel, no money, nothing. We did not give them one kobo, but you saw what happened. And I'm going to tell my fellow obedients that you have started this course. The course is ordained by God, and not any man will stop it. Thank you.
I just one final question before you go. Please. Did Kashim Shettima and the candidates of the NNPC, Kwakwanso, not visit the Hausa communities? Did they face this backlash as well when they came to Lagos? NNPP.
NNPP.
Yes, that's Kwakwanso of the NNPC.
They visited
Kashim Shettima with the APC.
They visited their community, the Arewa community. They visited them.
Did they have this?
No, they didn't. I don't know. It's obvious that Labour Party is a threat to all. And it's a threat to all because Nigerians are desirous of a change. And an eminent change is going to happen.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Pastor Dayo Ekong, for joining us this morning. Pastor Ekong is the chairman of the Labour Party in Lagos State. It's time now for a short break on the morning show. When we return, we'll have Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efeni join us to review top stories in today's newspapers. Stay with us.
34 million hectares of arable land, over 200 million people, one nation. Home to Africa's fertilizer company. Dangote Fertilizer. Pure urea fertilizer. With one single-minded passion to feed Nigeria. Every bag is a potential, an aspiration to turn this green nation into the biggest food basket of Africa. Dangote Fertilizer.
Nigeria has a problem.
A really big problem. The problem has made our country sick.
And we cannot remain sick for 4 more years.
Nigeria is sick with insecurity,
poverty,
rising cost of living,
and an escalating Japa crisis.
The good thing is,
Nigeria has a pathway to recovery.
And when we recover, our country will be safe.
When we recover, our economy will grow.
When we recover,
our nation will be stronger.
We have to recover from this sickness,
so we can recover from lost ground.
Recover our time,
recover our future,
and our dignity
on the African continent. In 2023,
it is Nigeria time to recover.
And together, we can get it done.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efeni. Great Malabai.
Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Rufai. Good morning, Ayo. You're welcome.
Thank you
back
very
from
much.
Maiduguri.
Great to be back.
Did you plan something? I don't know.
I got the memo.
You got the memo.
Yeah.
I'm looking
Now,
at
let's
Dr. now
start
to see.
let's start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. Yes, the lead story. Governors move to stall Supreme Court reversal of currency swap till after election, using joinder suits of Kanu, Ondo, Ekiti to delay verdict. Lobby judges urge federal government, CBN, to respect rule of law. Justice Ministry yet to receive certified true copy of ruling. Retaining old notes will jeopardize fight against fraud, corruption. CBN tells Akure Court. Resist politicians. Vote buying antics. Catholic bishops tell Nigerians. Yes, and of course, above that story related, Tinubu to CBN allow old new Naira notes coexist till 2024. PDP to APC leaders, stop punishing Nigerians by hoarding notes. Yes, the presidential candidate of the APC, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, yes, supporting the introduction of the new Naira note, saying all is asking for is that the old and the new should coexist. Well, good to know that he's now supporting this idea. But recall that his first public outcry against this introduction of the redesign note was that it was directed at stopping him from winning the 2023 presidential election. But now, he said yes, he's for it, but because of the pains Nigerians are going through, especially the rural folks and farmers who have to sell their products at giveaway prices. Well, he's saying that both should coexist. That is his own position. But the PDP is saying that APC leaders are stashing stacks of Naira somewhere, that if they bring them out, Nigerians will not be suffering. But the reality on ground is that if you go to some supermarkets now, they don't even take the old notes anymore. And people are still queuing up looking for the new Naira. They cannot get as much as they want. Yes, we encourage the cashless policy. People should go electronic. Use your POS, use your cards. And yes, but there are people, so many Nigerians who still do their transactions using cash. And those Nigerians are not finding it easy as we speak. The Nigerian Tribune reporting the story, Naira redesign. Nigeria at risk of CBN-induced recession. The governors are warning. Yes, the governors had the emergency meeting of the Governors Forum over the weekend. Worry over emergence of Naira black market. Severe food inflation. Tinubu wants Apex Bank to heed advice of Council of States. Yes, release Naira notes. You are hurrying. Atiku tells Tinubu APC. Ekiti sues federal government to join Supreme Court suit. Nigerians shun Supreme Court order. Reject old Naira note. Yes, one banker told me over the weekend that the banks are still acting on the subsisting order because as far as they're concerned, the central bank has not given any counter order as to the February 10 deadline. So they are not receiving old currencies into the bank. I think the CBN need to come out clear on that. All Nigerians are depending on right now is the statement or the interview granted Arise News Channel by the Attorney General of the Federation, where he said that the federal government will respect the judgment of the Supreme Court or the interim order, as it were. But for the CBN, there is no statement. I think we need some clarity there so that Nigerians can know where the CBN stand right now. Now, the Daily Trust newspaper, cash crunch rural dwellers resort to trade by barter. Can't access new old notes after taking cash to banks. Borno, Yobe villagers turn to Niger's currency to transact their businesses. Of course, the New Telegraph also has a story. Naira redesign joint case against federal government. Governors direct states attorneys general. Now, the Daily Sun newspaper, just beside the mastheads, CAN, PFN, disown alleged obese 2 billion mobilization largesse. I never wrote such a letter, says alleged author. Well, this speculation, it will call it, or fake news that the Labour Party presidential candidate is mobilizing CAN with 2 billion naira. Of course, the CAN has denied that there's anything like that. And the supposed author of that letter has said, well, he never wrote such a letter. So this is campaign time. A lot of fake news out there. Now, below the photographs, cool. Invite Fani Kayode to explain allegation. Atiku tells DSS. Now, if we just look at Abuja Inquirer, the city newspaper of Abuja, FCT area councils share 38.363 billion in 2022. No record of IGRO in IGRO. Council officials mom. Abuja residents say nothing to show for this allocation. Of course, the 6 area councils of the Federal Capital Territory shared this amount in 2022. Foreign newspapers quickly. The Financial Times. China balloons cross Taiwan airspace very frequently. Island officials point to military use. US 6 debris from down objects. While the Wall Street Journal is reporting US military shoots down 4th high altitude object. Yes, the 4th flying object in the US space shot down. Of course, President Joe Biden gave that order. The same missile used to shoot down the first 3 was also used to shoot down the 4th one, and they are looking for the debris. China seems to have found a way to harass the U.S.
To harass and spy. and just for the records, it just shows that a lot of things are heating up as regards U.S. and China, but trade is still going on well. But just for the records, each of those missiles that are being used to shoot down those unidentified flying objects, they cost $500,000 each. So 4, that's about $2 million now, just to shoot that missile. And somebody just sent me a message that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar did not visit the Oba of Lagos. That when he was around, I couldn't visit the Oba of Lagos too.
But you visited the Alake, right?
Yeah, so you couldn't visit Basu. Yeah.
The matter at hand.
Yes,
you said 4 balloons
yes.
over the USS space.
The fourth one shot now.
3 over the USS space. The fourth one is over Canada, Yukon territory. Yeah. Now, but Taiwan has also reported to say that, look, about once a month, China is always flying balloons over its airspace for, military purposes. However, the other issue that I wanted to draw attention to is the continuing tragedy in Turkey and Syria. And we've seen an outflow of humanitarian aid, over 60 million pounds. In the UK alone, the Sun newspaper there did fundraising, and they've been able to get up to about £1 million, which I think is quite commendable. But the thing about Turkey is that the Turkish authorities have arrested over 100 property developers because they say that part of the problem is because those buildings, some of the buildings affected, they don't stand strong enough. And yet we're saying, oh, this is natural, disaster. Turkey is on the Anatolian plate from east to west. But they are arresting people. Here in Nigeria, where there is no earthquake, people will build, the building will collapse for no natural reasons other than negligence, and they will get away with it.
Yes, now, as usual.
So I think we can learn a lesson from that.
Unless they die in the process.
Well, thank you very much. We'll take a short break now, and when we return, we'll be talking to Dele Momodu, Director of Strategic Communications of the People's Democratic Party Presidential Campaign Council. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Introducing an all-time mega offer. Get over 50% discount in the Airtel Home Broadband mega offer. Buy a router for just 10,000 Naira and get up to 240 gigabyte or a MiFi for 5,000 Naira and get up to 125 gigabyte bonus data. More data, more you. Reliable home broadband buy.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Hello, welcome to Able to Vote Guide. Able to Vote Guide is a voter education series to increase participation of registered voters with disability and the society at large. My name is Jake Epele. I'm the CEO and founder TAF Africa. Let's get started. In today's episode of the Able to Vote Guide, we will focus on how you, a blind registered voter, can use the Braille ballot guide as provided in Section 54, subsection 2 of the Electoral Act. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is expected to provide and deploy assistive devices to polling units where you are registered. As a blind registered voter, once you get to the polling unit, it's expected that you request a Braille ballot guide to enable you to vote at the voting point. The Braille ballot guide for the blind is an envelope-like leaflet with tactile features that enable persons with visual impairment to vote independently. Interestingly, it is the same size of the ballot paper once the ballot paper is inserted into it. The blind voter will be able to identify all the names of the political party listed therein. You can then proceed to vote for the political party of your choice using your thumbprint, and the ink will automatically fall on your chosen political party on the ballot paper. And you would have successfully exercised your right to vote. This message is coming to you from TAF Africa with funding from the European Union and supported by our media partner. For more information on the activities of TAF, follow us on our social media and our website displayed on your screen. See you on the next episode of Able to Vote Guide. I remain yours truly, Jake Epele. Bye.
A day to remember in the history of our dear country, Nigeria. 9 wise men from the north who are governors came together on June 8th, 2022 to stand for equity and fairness in the interest of our nation, Nigeria. They buried personal interest for the unity of our country. They supported the call that power must shift to the south in 2023. They chose a Nigeria agenda. We salute our brothers and sisters in the northern part of this country who, in spite of their vote advantage, continue to propagate the unity of Nigeria by promoting rotational presidency between the north and southern part of the country. Let voters in the north follow the move by these leaders. Vote for power shift to the south. It's the turn of the south to produce the president in 2023. Let's vote Bola Tinubu for president for a renewed hope of better Nigeria. Vote Kashim Shettima as vice president. Vote APC. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
On behalf of the government and the good people of Imo State, I, Senator Hope Uzodinma, most heartily welcome His Excellency President Muhammad Buhari to our state on Tuesday, February 14, 2023 for the campaign rally of the APC presidential candidate, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the commissioning of the MCC Toronto Road. It is not a matter of coincidence that Mr. President is visiting Imo State again. We also welcome in a special way our presidential candidate, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and his running mate, Senator Kashim Shettima, and to all APC leaders coming with our presidential candidate, including the national chairman, national officials of the party and governors. We say, come into the warm embrace of the famed hospitality of Imo people. Welcome to Imo State and happy Lovers Day. Senator Hope Uzodinma, Governor, Imo State.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Barely 2 weeks from now, Nigerians will head to the polls to elect a new president for a 4-year tenure. According to Dele Momodu, the Director of Strategic Communications of the People's Democratic Party Presidential Campaign Council, the party's candidate, Atiku Abubakar, will be elected president of Nigeria this month. Momodu, in a statement last week, dismissed polls conducted by surveying agencies which predicted victories for either Bola Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress or Labour Party's Peter Obi in the past few months. He further stated that wherever Obi is number 1 in the east, Atiku will be number 2. Wherever Tinubu is number 1 in the southwest, Atiku will be number 2 or vice versa. Atiku will be the first to cross the line of recording 25% in 24 states. He will get 25% automatically in the 19 states of the northern regions and will pick 6 in the south-south automatically. Joining us now on the morning show is Dele Momodu, the Director of Strategic Communications of the People's Democratic Party Presidential Campaign Council. Good morning, Mr. Momodu, and welcome to the morning show.
Good morning. How are you today?
Very well, thank you.
Well, what is this confidence that Atiku will win outright? What is it based on? Because there are people who are saying, look, this election, this race is so tight that it will most likely go into a runoff. But you seem to be sure that your candidate of the People's Democratic Party will not only get the majority of the votes, will also cross the required constitutional threshold of 24 states.
Elections are based on mathematics. That's number one. It's a mathematical game. Number two, you also have to look at the political history of Nigeria. Number three, you have to look at the factors that determine who people vote for. So, when you look at the mathematics of it, you have to combine that with the factors that influence the voters. In Nigeria, number one is going to be ethnicity. Even in America, they call it the race factor. That's why you see the whites, the blacks, the Hispanics. In Nigeria, you have different major ethnic groups. And each of them are deeply entrenched. In the Southwest, majority of those who are supporting Tinubu are supporting him because he's a Yoruba man. The Emilokan syndrome is also based on our Lokan. It's the turn of the Southwest, which, of course, is not actually true because there are other tribes in the South, like in the Southeast, who are also laying claim to the Emilokan. Then, in the North, you have one mainstream candidate, and that is Atiku Abubakar. The mathematics of it is that the North already has 19 states in the 3 regions, while in the 3 regions in the South, you have 17. So we're already at a disadvantage. And when you look at the population, the voting population in the North, it's much more than what you have in the South. So the history of it is that whenever you have 2 strong Southern candidates, it is always very difficult, if not impossible, to defeat the mainstream Northern candidate. In this election, the leading Northern candidate is Atiku Abubakar. With 2 strong Southern candidates, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu from Lagos State, from Southwest Nigeria, and the third force, former Governor Peter Obi from the Southeast. The only candidate in this race who has his footprints in other parts of Nigeria is Atiku Abubakar. The 2 in the South will fight themselves, one in the Southeast, one in the Southwest. Atiku does not suffer that kind of challenge. I know you are likely to say, oh,
Kwankaso?
No. In 1979 and in 1983, we had Malam Aminu Kano who was in charge in Kano. It's always been like, it's the same replay.
It's not just the Kwankaso factor. There are APC governors.
No, that's where I'm going.
Strategic places in the north.
Don't worry.
Would they make themselves politically relevant?
There is nothing they can do. Many of them are already lame dogs. There is nothing they can do about it. The reason some of them can attack Buhari frontally, the way they are doing now, is because they know he's on his way out. When you're on your way out, all your enemies will converge. All the governors have acquired, most of them have acquired their enemies in the last 8 years. There's nothing they can do about it. They have become lame dogs. They cannot dictate. I can tell you, I have friends in APC. All their permutations today is predicated only on one thing, that the governors will make him. There is nobody who relies on outsiders to make him president in Nigeria. It is impossible. You must first of all make sure you hold your base down. Of all the candidates, Tinubu is the only person whose base is shaky. The Southwest, I can tell you that in Lagos, 3 people are going to split Lagos. Tinubu, Atiku, and Peter Obi. There is nothing you can do about it this time. The 3 will get their 25%, then I don't know who takes the lead. And that's all that we need. In the North, today, Tinubu is relying on governors. The governors might give him 25% in a few places, but in most places he will not get it. That is clear to me. So whenever you have 2 strong Southern candidates, it is going to be difficult. Right. And you can see that Obi is eating into the Southern votes.
Okay, so thank you for the permutations and computations and the numbers, the number analysis. But let's talk about polls, because that's also an indication in some instances of the pulse of the people, of the inclinations of the people. Recently, STARS, a Pan-African organization, had released perhaps the biggest sample, 6,220 people polled. And in their findings, 27% of the people were going for Peter Obi, 15% of the vote to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and your candidate comes in third at 12%. And this was, and in terms of the breakdown of these 6,220 people as sample polls, what's your take on polls? Because as we mentioned earlier on, your candidate hasn't fared very well in polls. It's come second in or third, perhaps, in some of the polls. And their poll, by the way, aligns with next year's and ANA polls.
I enjoy reading polls, but in a largely illiterate community, polls cannot determine who wins. Majority of the voters in some parts of the north, if you do the polling 20 times, they will tell you it's because who are those who are more likely to be able to use technology? They are in this side of the country. How many people were polled organically? Let me use that word. It has to be organic. I am telling you that it will be a fantasy of the highest order for anybody to say Obi will win most parts of the north. It is impossible. I'm not a gambler. I would have put a bet on it, but I'm telling you that it is impossible. You see, polls are based today more on the theory of who is likely to vote. And of course, they depend largely on technology. Technology has not permeated Nigeria enough to the extent that you will go into Sambisa forest, you will go into Kebbi, you will go into Zamfara, you will go into Sokoto, and you'll be able to get people to respond to those questions that pollsters look for. So that is why it is very easy for them. All the polling that I have seen, none has indicated that they went into the grassroots. None. So if they have misfired, you can't blame them, because it's the same thing I remember when I met the publisher of, what's it called? These guys who do the rich list. Forbes. He came to Nigeria. And I told him, I said the criteria you use for determining the richest people is faulty. He said, why? I said, because you are basing everything on stocks. In Nigeria, we have a man who is making money every second, and he owns most of the companies alone. Yet, you will look at people who are also overexposed.
Who is that man?
Oh, Mike Adenuga, the chairman of Globacom. He owns, every year they will put him at number 6. There is nobody in Africa who makes money per second and owns the company alone. It's the same thing with pollsters.
He owns Glow.
He owns Glow. So, you understand? That's the only man. So it's the same thing with pollsters. They make sure that everything, and I've worked with a polling company before. As a kid, I know some of these kids will sit in a bukateria and they are filling the forms.
So you're saying all the polls are false?
I didn't say they are false, I said they are faulty. Okay. So there is a difference. They are faulty. If they can show me evidence that they went into the rural areas to speak to the people, you can see it. And all you have to do is look at the pattern. Even many times in the past when they predicted that some people would win, and they didn't win.
Okay, so, but I'll challenge some logic. The first one I'll challenge is the fact that you said technology has not deepened enough. Based on empirical facts, I don't think that's true, because you have over 200 million telephone lines in this country.
Out of which I alone, I probably own about 10.
So give or take, even if you average the telephone lines, at least knock on wood, you still have well over 100 million people with telephone lines in this country. And also the way you know is tele-density has increased. You can see in the factorial numbers, these are based on empirical facts. So if the polls are calling people, you can't say, okay, there's no spread. And another way I'll use to challenge that logic is the fact that when they were about fighting insurgency, the first thing they did was to turn off the telephone masts that affected a lot of people. So if in the remote areas, telephone masts were turned off, it's to show you how much telephony has penetrated in those areas. Just to also further buttress, Ayo's point, there's been Bloomberg polls, there's been next year polls, there's been ANA polls. All of these polls constantly, taking over a sequential period of time, has shown Peter Obi at tops. Fitch Solutions polls, this is the second time they are polling now, and they have shown Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as winner. So when you put all of this together, that's one part of it. I know you want to respond to that. Secondly, the other part is, other people will say, are these not just assumptions you are making, trying to mitigate the power of a Kwankwaso in the north and also the power of a Bola Ahmed Tinubu, owing to the fact that these governors, what if in a case that they actually deliver? What if in a case that he wins Kano and he wins a couple of other areas? Because he's going to get down the wire and they will further, fight your argument by saying your own boss, MK Abiola of blessed memory, went against a northern candidate to fight your logic and he won in 1993, predominantly in parts of the north. Bashir Tofa was a northern candidate, straight against a southern candidate, and he won. What will you say about this, sir?
So I'll start from MKO Abiola.
Yes, sir.
Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, with all due respect, is not MKO or Awolowo. So let's get that. Abiola was able to build his business network across Nigeria. Unless you are able to tell me what business network Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has built across Nigeria, then we can begin to talk about MKO Abiola. Abiola in Taraba State had his rice plantation, his rice mill there. In Lafayette, he had the Abiola farms. He had Abiola bookshops. He paid money to all Nigerian universities. He was a consummate businessman. Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, he is just a politician. So there is a world of difference between him and Abiola. Then you use the word what if. I read in Sidney Sheldon that the word if is a two-letter word of futility. More often than not, you say if this, if that. So what if not? So Rufai, trust me, in America, it took America over 200 years to produce an Obama. A presidential race is not a day's job. And I like to give the example that even in Ghana, a smaller country to Nigeria, it took John Kufuor 3 attempts. It took Atamins 3 attempts. It took Nana Akufo-Addo 3 attempts. It took our own Buhari 4 attempts. Are you saying Tinubu is more popular in the north than Buhari? That he will now have to depend on the north to make him president? The answer is no. The only man who has been able to build that bridge across Nigeria is Atiku. He's been at it for 30 years. It's not a joke. There is no part of Nigeria Atiku we get to today and he will not have one friend or the other. Tinubu has to struggle to do that. And now he has to rely. And that's one of the reasons why this currency issue is the way it is. Because they need to pump a lot of money into those places where he's not popular. And with the currency controversy, it becomes more difficult if they are not able to spend that money. That is it. It's a very simple thing. They are just struggling to build. And all your polls say, Obi cannot win the election. That one, there is no question about it. Because you need structures. I was the first person to mention the issue of structure. I said, oh, he's talking rubbish. You need structures. You will see what will happen in the coming days. I can't reveal our strategy. You will see that the only party with the ready-made structure for that election is PDP. There is no other party.
Okay, it's good you mentioned this vote buying by saying, oh, the APC, they're trying to stockpile funds. The substance of a statement issued by Debo Olugunagba, also PDP spokesperson, he was saying that, look, some governors in the APC, they are trying to stockpile 22.5 billion, and that is APC running a campaign under an APC government that is behind the scarcity of new notes. But we started this program this morning by reviewing a statement issued by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in which he expressed concern about the situation. He critiqued the disruptive nature of the policy in terms of execution, implementation, and he offered concrete ideas as to what can be done. And Bayo Ononuga, I think it was who issued a statement saying that, look, the PDP is just lying, and that the PDP must provide evidence that APC is stockpiling funds, is criticizing the Naira policy because they want to do vote buy. Does the PDP have any such evidence?
Dr. Abati, I know you, and I'm not trying to patronize you, to be one of the most brilliant journalists in Nigeria. And I know that you don't suffer from amnesia. Who was that man who was crying in Abeokuta that the currency swap was targeted at him? Who was that man? You are not able to answer.
Well, is that the evidence that he has stockpiled money? Or he wants to stockpile money?
That was the foundation. How come outsiders are crying louder than the bereaved? How come this thing affects everybody? In fact, Atiku Abubakar was the first candidate to do a broadcast and say, hey, people are suffering. Please make sure you have more notes in circulation. While one man was crying and saying this thing is targeted at me. And whether they release money or they don't release money, I am going to win. You couldn't answer. So you jumped from the foundation to the roof. That's what you have done, Dr. Abati. Our evidence is simple. Those who are crying today about the currency, they never united against insecurity. They never united against inflation. Nigerians are suffering. Every Nigerian today is suffering. Yet the governors did not come together. They didn't go to Supreme Court. What is in their interest in this currency business? It is obvious that they need money to buy votes, and we say it with every sense of responsibility that is the issue. Otherwise, why would any man say, oh, hey, they are targeting me? Have you ever seen a ruling party where its own operatives are so unruly as to be attacking their own president? A Buhari that they all used to worship, suddenly they are worshiping him in public.
Well, just before you go further, somebody has joined this conversation. He said, Dele Momodu once said on video that if Tinubu could pick his party's nomination, it would be difficult to stop him from being president.
I said
what has changed?
Nothing has changed. Then let the person give you the rest of the video. I said only if PDP can come up with a stronger candidate, and they came up with Atiku Abubakar. People like to quote, they lift what they like. It is in the nature of quotes. If I want to quote where this man praised Tinubu or supposedly praised him, I can do so by lifting the ones that are convenient or relevant to me. The man did not go further than where I said, unless PDP can produce, and they produce. Let me tell you, in retrospect, all of us who competed against Atiku at that time, it is now that we value Atiku more. Because I don't see how anybody else would have been able to take on Tinubu, but only Atiku. Atiku is a superior former vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a man with so much experience, a cosmopolitan leader, a man who has traversed the length and breadth of this country and has been able to make friends. And go and look at all the people around him. They're all young people from different parts of Nigeria.
All right, so two things. First of all, you talk about structure, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's something that the Obi camp has also spoken about at,
They always dismiss it.
Yes, in terms of, he says that it's even that structure that they are kicking against, because the structure of the old is one of corruption, is the old way that the young people want to do away with. So he's not interested in that kind of structure. What kind of structure does the PDP have that's different from hold on, I just want to finish. What kind of structure does the PDP have for Nigerians that's away from the old that the young people are clamoring for? Because what you're saying is that your candidate is part of the old system that they voted away. The second thing I would like to talk about, because you talked about the internal wranglings within the APC, with the governors, speaking against the policy of the president. But we can say the same of the PDP. And I'd like to just ask you, in terms of the G5 governors, what's the updates on that? I know they haven't yet said who they'll be supporting, as they promised us in January, but that has blighted the PDP campaign, because they've said that a house divided itself against itself cannot stand. 5 of your governors have had some agitations, and they'd come out to say they were not, and they have demonstrated that they're not supporting your presidential candidates, at least up until now. What's your take on that?
What you have in PDP is a civil war. What you have in APC is a world war, where governors are attacking their own president, attacking the leadership of their party frontally. In PDP, yes, 5 people, one of them agreed that he lost the election. That's normal. Some people lose election and they are able to go away quietly. Some people lose election and they become inconsolable. So Wike has been inconsolable. We've been trying to console, we've been trying to advise, we've been trying to plead with him, and he has refused. It is his choice. But in APC, what you have is a volcanic eruption. They are fighting as if Buhari is already out of power. In fact, Governor El-Rufai threatened that once Tinubu wins, we're going to reverse the policies of Buhari. I've never heard such a thing in my life. So that is that. On the issue of structure, the obedience are beginning to see the importance of structure. What do you mean by structure? Even this your office, without a structure, there will be no show this morning. Structure is not something that is out of this world. It is a needed requirement. How many governors have you got? Which is what Tinubu is banking on, that my governors will help me. How many senators or senatorial candidates have you got? How many people from House of Reps? How many people from House of Assembly? They haven't got much of that. You're also going to need agents nationwide, thousands of them. That will form part of your structure. So a PDP that has been in existence since 1999, how do you want to compete against them when in every word they already have their structures? In every federal constituency, they already have their structures. If you say people, we don't pay shishi, you can see how people are moving away in droves in some of these smaller parties because the structures are not there. The structures also include the funding of each of those structures. But we shall see in the next 1 week what will happen. The polls will not help Obi. If they let 1 million polls say Obi is going to win, I can tell you for free that the structures don't favor him. Atiku is going to get all the 25% in the 19 northern states, and all he needs to cross 24 will be just 5 in the south. And in the south, as I said, wherever Obi is number 1, Atiku will be number 2. Wherever Tinubu is number 1, Atiku will be number 2. And Atiku will actually pick some states in the south. I'm very sure about that.
Well, Dele Momodu, thank you very much. February 25 will soon be here, and we will all be here, and we'll see. Thank you very much for joining us on the morning show. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll be talking to Professor Rukewe Ugumba, APC chieftain and professor of family medicine. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Let me tell you, no matter your poor background, PDP will give you the opportunity to be anything, to be whatever you want to become in your life.
Yawa, da so samu ne, Atiku ya samu, wazirin mu da shi da Okowa su ne namu. In fa an samu, wai, da na samu. Idan na samu kai ka samu kowa ya samu da so samu ne ku dangwala wa Atikun dai saboda ba wani shakka shugaban kasa shine daidai in fa an samu dala ta karye a cire tsaro a gyara tsaro bana dole mu warke da so samu ne a ce a rike tuta na tsawon minti 10 kuma ba wanda zai huta in fa an samu in fa an samu mene wani habawa da ku zaɓi Atiku da shi da Okowa don za ku ga aiki da so samu ne mu dangwala ma PDP ku fito mi zaɓe ku fito da PVC rayuwa for Naija is hard ko baba ya san ino easy ga tsada ga layin mai ga yunwa ga bako sisi rainy days ahead amma ga lema Atiku muke so sai lema da ni da kai da shi har da gema ran zaɓe da wala malema
As you adjust to the new realities for operating your business and engaging with your customers, let us help you transform your business into a digital powerhouse capable of adapting and taking advantage of today's opportunities. With our best-in-class array of digital solutions, you can conduct your business, receive payments from your customers, and perform transactions quickly, safely, and conveniently, because we've got you covered with the right people, technology, and service offerings. Contact us today and let us take your business to its zenith. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
My daughter-in-law, so how are you planning for my son's birthday? You have to cook for her. Do you people have ogirisi there? No. It's okay. Okay, let me call you back. Mama Chiji, okay. Hi, Sowete Market. Please pack some ogirisi. Achi, Opo, Azumbasa. I am going to visit my son. My daughter-in-law. It's arranged. But you must use original red oil to prepare the soup. What? It's very scarce. I'll call you back. Mama Chijo, please include Isio Morocco. My daughter-in-law. Everything is now set. But don't forget that gold wristwatch I saw the last time I visited.
With 11 kobo per second calls to all networks, the only thing you run out of are things to say. Get a Glow SIM or dial *777# now.
That's Silk Bobo.
With their so-called experience in 2019, Lagos's poverty rate was 4.5% and today it's 8.5% with 4.2 million Lagosians in extreme poverty. It is only an inexperienced manager that will pump 10 billion naira into an employment scheme to address unemployment rate of 14.6% in 2019. And today, same unemployment rate has gone up to 37.16% with 1.8 million Lagosians having no jobs. The duo of Jando and Funke have been investing in Lagos's economy for about 2 decades, running their personal businesses, employing people with track records of success. Lagos needs a breath of fresh air. Vote Dr. Abdulaziz Olajide Adediran Jando as Governor of Lagos State. PDP! Power to the people!
It doesn't really seem like 10 years, does it? But when we started off 10 years ago, it seemed an impossible adventure, but we did it. We got an historic television channel on the air. One of the most important things for me, and again, we covered all the global business stories in our way. It was a great adventure. I'll come on to what's happening today because I happen to think that that's much more interesting. But one of the great things was, it was seeing beginners actually stepping up to the mark and being trained. I enjoyed nurturing them. I enjoyed helping them with their careers and in turn helping Arise become what it is today. The business stories fall one into the other over those 10 years, but it's such a privilege to be reporting on it right now because I don't think we've ever seen anything like this. We've never seen the volatility, we've never seen the threat of recession, we've never seen the threat of war, and even the way in which we're working has all changed. So these are enormous challenges, and there couldn't be a better place to do it than with Arise. The news happens to be a great business.
met some incredible people working for Arise News and also worked on some absolutely incredible stories, whether that was the Bataclan attacks, whether that was the Ebola outbreak, or whether that was making a documentary about the first female, first Black, first Asian Vice President, Kamala Harris. There were some truly incredible experiences, including reporting throughout the COVID-19 pandemic on what was happening right here in London, whether that was the deaths of Black and brown doctors or whether that was on kids struggling to go back to school, which included filming my own daughter homeschooling right here at home. It really was formative years in my career in journalism, and met some incredible people and did some incredible work. Can't believe it's been 10 years of Arise News, and here's to many more.
What an amazing decade it's been. I think for me, what makes it even so exciting is that it's been built on the blocks of telling not just African stories, but authentic African stories that resonate with you as an African at home. I think having been at the forefront of telling some of those big stories from the south side of the continent for me has not only been enriching for me as a journalist, but it's also been a moment where you're able to take the story to the people. I think for me, the Oscar Pistorius trial, bringing it blow by blow to our viewers on the platform, has been one of those big moments for me as a journalist here on Arise. And we say, here's to many more 10 years. Happy birthday.
Imagine your wallet can be everything. Well, almost everything your bank is to you. That's exactly what First Money Wallet is. First Money Wallet from First Bank is another swift and seamless way to bank from your mobile phone. It doesn't matter if you have a First Bank account or not, nor the mobile network you use. Everyone can open a First Money Wallet, and it's very easy. Your phone number is your account number. With First Money Wallet, you can send money using just a phone number, receive money, pay bills, buy airtime and data for yourself or someone else, and in check balance. You don't need a bank account at all or BVN to enjoy the boundless possibilities First Money Wallet offers. All you need is a registered phone number, and you can fund your wallet easily through your First Bank account or any bank account and debit card. What's more, First Money Wallet is highly secure with fingerprint technology and PIN. And when you need cash, just walk up to any First Money agent near you to withdraw money. No smartphone, no wahala. Just dial *894*1# on any phone. So, it doesn't matter if you live in the city or the remotest part of the country. With First Money Wallet, your transactions are easy, seamless, and secure. Download the First Money Wallet app now. Input your phone number and follow the prompts, or simply dial *894*1#. All money now on First Money. You first. First Bank.
As a player, there's nothing better than the roar of your crowd. But in Nigeria, there's a roar that may not be heard again. With fewer than 50 lions left, they could be extinct in the next few years, from loss of habitat and prey, and snares set for illegal bushmeat. So please, say no to illegal bushmeat. Let's keep the roar alive for Nigeria, because poaching steals from us all.
I've been running my business on my own, trying my best to get it to the next level, but I really need some help to get ahead. I know just what to do, I'll vault it for my loans, overdraft, step by step to my dream business with Vault. Vault is the answer. Salary earners, entrepreneurs, get your loans with no collateral. Hey. Vault is the answer. Quick sign up, zero paperwork, step by step to your dream business with Vault.
Vault is available to individuals, SMEs, and corporate customers. Download Vault by Polaris Bank from the Google Play Store or Apple App Store to get started today.
Esther, you're late again. Esther?
She's a wandering light in the darkness. She's beautiful. Oh, she's a superstar.
Morning, Esther.
She never let her mama down. She's beautiful. She know the fear. She know they ever got a hand for her.
No phones at the table, please. Esther? I love you too.
Got everything? Don't forget I'll pick you at 4.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Haruna, Bisi, Akman, Unduka, how will I want to do on election day?
On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I dey vote, na broom I go put my hand for Tinubu. On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I dey vote, na broom I go put my hand for Tinubu.
People of Nigeria, make we all come out on election day and vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as president. Make Nigeria for better. Make you put your hand for APC, the party where show broom. Not forget now broom you go put your hand in. Bam!
On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I dey vote, na broom I go put my hand for Tinubu.
Welcome back to the morning show right in the Rise News channel. With the collapse of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, into the opposition All Progressive Congress in Delta State, Deputy Senate President and Delta State APC governorship candidate Senator Ovio Mwagige looks set and ready for the gubernatorial election in the oil-rich state, having campaigned in almost every part of the state. Mwagige has told Deltans that the governor Okowa has played too many pranks on them, even to the point of presenting Speaker Sheriff Obewore, a man whose academic credentials are subject of court litigation, to be his successor. The Deputy Senate President have also spoken out against the neglect of Warri, a town which he says is meant to be the economic hub of the state. So joining us now on the show from our Abuja studio to discuss the campaign activities of APC in Delta State and support for Bola Ahmed Tinubu is Professor Rukewe Ogumba, APC chieftain and Professor of Family Medicine. Professor Rukewe, great to see you again. Let's go straight to it. Great to see you again. I'd just like to ask you this. How much do you think the APC can push to be able to surmount the PDP in a largely PDP-dominated Delta state? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Professor Rukewe?
I can hear you, just not very clear.
Okay, is it clearer now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you a little bit better, but it's really low.
Okay, so maybe I'll project even more. I say, how well do you think the APC can beat the PDP with Ovio Omagege? And a lot of people will even give you a poser by saying, somebody that was more accepted, great Ovejo Boru, tried with the same APC, but he couldn't defeat the PDP. That the PDP is so vested in Delta.
The audio is really bad.
Okay, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back to you.
doesn't really seem like 10 years, does it? But when we started off 10 years ago, it seemed an impossible adventure, but we did it. We got an historic television channel on the air. One of the most important things for me, and again, we covered all the global business stories in our way. It was a great adventure. I'll come on to what's happening today because I happen to think that that's much more interesting. But one of the great things was, it was seeing beginners actually stepping up to the mark and being trained. I enjoyed nurturing them. I enjoyed helping them with their careers and in turn helping Arise become what it is today. The business stories fall one into the other over those 10 years, but it's such a privilege to be reporting on it right now because I don't think we've ever seen anything like this. We've never seen the volatility, we've never seen the threat of recession, we've never seen the threat of war, and even the way in which we're working has all changed. So these are enormous challenges, and there couldn't be a better place to do it than with Arise. The news happens to be a great business.
I met some incredible people working for Arise News and also worked on some absolutely incredible stories, whether that was the Bataclan attacks, whether that was the Ebola outbreak, or whether that was making a documentary about the first female, first Black, first Asian Vice President, Kamala Harris. There were some truly incredible experiences, including reporting throughout the COVID-19 pandemic on what was happening right here in London, whether that was the deaths of Black and brown doctors or whether that was on kids struggling to go back to school, which included filming my own daughter homeschooling right here at home. It really was formative years in my career in journalism, and met some incredible people and did some incredible work. Can't believe it's been 10 years of Arise News, and here's to many more.
Okay, great to have you once again. Welcome back to the morning show. Sorry for that hitch. Professor Ogoma, I'm sure you can hear me now. My question is this to you. How is the APC going to beat PDP in a PDP heavily vested state? Even when somebody that had the recognition and the class and the clout like great Ovejo Ogburu tried, he couldn't still usurp the PDP in Delta State. What is Oviomo Agege going to do differently, from this now, owing to the fact that he was an aspirant in 2007, I remember, on the PDP ticket before he crossed the APC. What's going to be different this time?
Yeah, thanks, Rufai. Good to see you again. It's been a while.
Good to see you.
And lots is going to be different. Obviously, we've had... everyone is fed up with the PDP in Delta State. I'm sure you know that the Delta State governor put himself on the ticket, very controversial way, as a VP candidate. And now, with the rotational style, what's it called? The governorship is coming back to the robo. You mentioned Great Ogboru. At the time, when he ran the last time, I believe it was the turn of the Delta North. And so naturally, it's come back to the central. And obviously, they're fielding a very, I would just say, inferior candidate compared to the caliber of a DSP. Like you rightly said, he's run for elections before. He's run for governor before. He's a very experienced politician. And also, he's currently a sitting deputy president of the Senate. So he's got a lot of more experience than 2007. And what's different now is that Deltans are really fed up with Okowa. I'm sure you know that between our revenues from FAC, from internal revenue, from 13% derivation, and including loans that Okowa has taken, including a recent loan we had about 4.2 trillion naira as revenues into Delta State coffers, whereas there's absolutely nothing to show for it when you want to even compare and contrast with, let's just say, River State, which is actually receiving less money than us. So Deltans are fed up with the status quo of the PDP. A lot of the bigwigs in the PDP have actually crossed over to join the APC currently. And so we fancy our chances. We're saying that we have a better candidate. We have better candidates across board. We're talking for the APC 5/5 in Delta State. And what's different now is that Deltans are actually wiser. We have a lot more registered PVC voters. Most people want to see a government that works with them, and currently that's not the case. So that's what's different now.
Okay, so thank you. Still talking about what's different, Senator Ovie Onwuagege had said during the decamping of the ADC to collapse to be a part of the APC in Delta State that Deltans should reward Mr. Governor Okowa by voting him out. In fact, they call the PDP candidate in the state an attempt to have a third term through Mr. Sheriff Oberuvori. Tell us, what would Senator Onwuagege do differently? Now, I want to hear about his plans for Deltans, separate from what Governor Okowa has been able to do in the last 8 years. Share with us some of his plans.
Okay, very, very good question. So we'll just go straight to his manifesto. So I have here with me a document. It's called the Manifesto. It's a 60-page document called the EDGE Agenda, which is a real 4 broad agenda. It's the edge to build a new Delta. This is what we're calling it. And it's we're talking about empowerment, development, good governance, and enduring peace and security in summary. But it's a 60-page document. I can give you a copy if you want. But it's a very comprehensive document that was the best minds were brought to bear to bring this manifesto to what's different to what Okowa is doing. Like I said, he's borrowed so much money. We have lots of money coming into Delta State coffers. We have probably one flyover to show since almost 8 years of government compared to 14, for example, in River State, with even more money coming into Delta State. And if you want to talk about Okowa's third term, you can say yes, because Sheriff is the current Speaker of the House, and he's been rubber stamping everything from all the loans and all the request Okowa has. It's just like a rubber stamp. And so we expect that to continue if, unfortunately, the Deltas don't get wise. In fact, Deltans will not do this third term of Okowa. I think he was really ambitious to want to bring his speaker, who has very, very questionable educational background, which I think is still some legal issues with that, and to also put himself as a candidate. So he wants to field himself as a VP candidate with Delta State funds, as well as put, I would say, a less qualified candidate for governor. So I can go very much into this agenda. I'm very excited about it. It's something for everything that we want to see in Delta State. And like I said, we have a lawmaker who has been in the executive arm of government as an executive assistant to a commissioner to an SSG, before he went over as a legislator. So I think we have a very good candidate that is far, far, far superior to what they're offering us. And like you said, what would Deltas enjoy? Everything that he's promising. This is a man who's been in the Senate for 2 terms, and you can go to Delta Central. It's almost like a construction site. I mean, he has attractive projects that no other senator has ever done. Not even Okowa himself, when he was senator, he couldn't even bring some measure of succor, I would say, to the health system, whereas he was chairman of the health committee in Senate for health. He couldn't even bring one more health facility to Delta. We still have just the one FMC. Even neighboring Edo State has got 3. Delta is far richer and larger than Edo State, for example. And you know what is federal might? If we had federal institutions, even if for any reason, I mean, Edo State has Uselu, even if it's a psychiatric hospital, it does have some emergent care. You have UBTH and you have IROA, and all these attract employment, federal government funding, and so many other things that Deltans do not have right now, whereas we have just one FMC in Asaba, where Asaba doesn't even have much of the population. You know, the population is in Warri and Delta Central. And so you can see how skewed that is. Even as he said, as a senator, he didn't even do well for Deltans, moreover being a governor. And of course, you know, I'm a professor of medicine, so I can speak very well to the health sector, having been a special advisor to a previous governor of Delta State. So I know for 4 years how the health system works in Delta State. And even all our policies, none of them were continued by Kowa. Instead, he would rather go and develop his hometown, which is OR Lera, which is pretty much the only place that looks new in Delta State compared to the rest of Deltans. Even the Delta North people are tired of him, and he's going to hear it from us at the polls. He will be punished. That it's not a boast. You can see from our rallies, from our movements, from even the polls, that Deltans really mean business to change government this time.
Well, on that note, we'd like to thank you very much, Professor Ogumba, for joining us on the morning show. We'll take a short break now. When we return, Ojinika Ope will be here with details on what's trending. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Are you a dealer in cars, jewelry, precious metals and stones and luxury goods? Are you into real estate, or are you an estate agent, surveyor, valuer, developer or broker? Are you into the hospitality industry, lottery business, or are you a mortgage broker, tax consultant or an accountant? Do you have a supermarket, pools betting and consulting or construction company? If you have, go and obtain your certification from the Special Control Unit Against Money Laundering, SCUMOL, and be free to do your business within the ambits of the law. SCUMOL has the responsibility to monitor, supervise, and regulate the activities of designated non-financial business and professions, DNFBPs, across the country. Please note that the SCUMOL certificate is not a guarantee of legitimacy of any business. To register, visit www.scumol.org. For collection of certificate, visit any EFCC office nearest to you. Remember, registration is free.
SCUMOL, securing Nigeria's business environment. This message is from Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC.
Come with me, let's talk. Now, you see, confidence is a very attractive trait a man can possess, and it's the entire package, not just the outfits, and definitely not going around looking like this guy. And that used to be me, but not anymore. Oh well, insert music! For me, before I choose anything, I always look out for unconventional, authentic, and very important living with promise. Now, let me show you one of the things that carries all these qualities I look out for. What I'm about to show you is a mix of African roots and modern technology to deliver something ultra. This is uniquely created from honey, camwood, shea butter, aloe vera, and essential oils. Experience ultra moisturization with Premier Cool Black for a renewed skin feel. Oh, and what's a soap ad without a shower scene? Got the shower scene.
Let me tell you, no matter your poor background, PDP will give you the opportunity to be anything, to be whatever you want to become in your life.
Yawa, gaso samu ne, atiku ya samu, wazirin mu da shi da okowa su ne namu. Umfa an samu, wai, da na samu, idan na samu kai ka samu kowa ya samu. Gaso samu ne, ku dangwala wa atikun dai, saboda ba wani shakka shugaban kasa shine daidai. Dala ta karye a cire tsaro a gyara tsaro bana dole mu warke da so samu ne a ce a rike tuta na tsawon minti 10 kuma ba wanda zai huta in fa an samu in fa an samu mene in fa an samu wani habawa to ku zaba Atiku da shi da Okowa dan za ku ga aiki ya so samu ne mu dangwala ma PD PDP. Kuputo me zabe, kuputo the PVC. Rayuwa for Niger is hard. Koba baya san no easy. Gata da gala yumai ga yunwa ga bako sisi. Rainy days ahead, amaga lema ati kumike so selema. Da ni da kai da shi har da gema. Ran zabe da wala malema. Umpa ansa.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Joining us now is Ojinika Ojiokwe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Jinix.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. How was your weekend? Just make it louder, that's all. We missed you, Ayomi. How are you this morning?
Very well,
fantastic.
thank you.
Good morning, Rufai.
Morning, Aji.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm doing excellent. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe.
In Turkey and Syria, 1 week after the devastating 7.8 magnitude earthquake that tore through both countries, the United Nations has finally acknowledged an international failure to help Syrian quake victims as residents of areas in northwest Syria struck by the massive earthquake are grappling with their new and worsening reality, while Turkish authorities are targeting contractors allegedly linked with buildings that collapsed in the powerful earthquake. On Sunday, rescuers found more survivors in the rubble, including a pregnant woman and 2 children in the disaster that has killed over 33,000 people. In Nigeria, the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, on Sunday clarified that he was not against the decision of the country's central bank to redesign the Naira and the drive towards a cashless economy, contrary to insinuations, but was only against the disruptive implementation of the policy. He urged the federal government and the CBN to announce that the old and new Naira notes should coexist as legal tender till 2024, while the People's Democratic Party called on leaders of the APC, including Tinubu, to immediately release billions of new Naira notes allegedly in their custody in order to halt the anguish being experienced by Nigerians. Under sports, Nigerian sprinter Favour Ofili set an African women's indoor record in 200 meters after she dipped 22.36 seconds at the Tiger Paw Invitational in South Carolina over the weekend. The Louisiana State University undergraduate blissed across the indoor circuit to retire the 22.48 seconds record she set at the Southeastern Conference Championships in February 2022. Ofili's latest performance is the second fastest time in U.S. collegiate history and the 6th fastest in the world. Finally, under entertainment, Rihanna delivered an electrifying performance at the Super Bowl 57 halftime show on Sunday as she debuted her baby bump, revealing she is expecting her second child 9 months after welcoming her son with her partner, A$AP Rocky. It was her first solo performance in 7 years and her first since becoming a mother. The 34-year-old star dazzled the crowd from on high as her dancers performed beneath her stage at breakneck speed in a display of razor-sharp choreography on the field at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona.
Congratulations to Rihanna. Well, let's begin what's trending with this heart-wrenching story emanating from Chrisland School in Lagos, Nigeria, involving the death of a 12-year-old student identified as Whitney Adedinro, who slumped during the school's inter-house sports program, which has sparked outrage across social media in Nigeria. On Sunday, the school management released a press statement confirming that Whitney was one of their day students who opted not to participate in the inter-house program for reasons unknown to them, but cited a case on January 20th, 2023, where she complained about her health. Well, Whitney's parents have debunked the claim, stating that their daughter has been in good health. Whitney's mother took to social media to narrate her ordeal.
Please tell me what happened to my child. They are not saying anything to me. They are saying, oh, she slumped. Oh, she slumped. Oh, she slumped. How? How? Parents are calling me, oh, Mom Whitney will sympathize with you. Somebody said, oh, I learned from the school authorities she was a sickly child. I said, my child sickly? My own child sickly? That is not true. I'm not an irresponsible woman. I'm not an irresponsible parent. Me and my husband, we place our children as priority. If my child complained of even a slight headache, she would never have gone to that school that day. She would not have gone. I would take her to the hospital immediately. Melo money, how many I get? How many I get? So I go take one, they play. How many? Chrisland up to this moment is not telling me anything. They're telling me, Kadara, go and bury her. Kadara, how do I accept Kadara that my first fruit, my 12-year-old, is late, is dead, out of carelessness? There was no ambulance. There was no medical doctor on ground. There was no trained personnel. Why was she drenched in water? Who poured water on her? What happened? Nobody is telling me anything. They're protecting their school integrity. I'm seeing some comments that is breaking my heart, but I will not curse you. I will pray for you, and I will say, the pain I'm going through, may you never experience it. This pain I'm going through, may you never. I don't have an enemy in this world, but I will not wish on my worst enemy. I pray no mother has to go through what I'm going through. IGO police, if you are a father, come to my rescue. Last my daughter's body is in your mortuary. Chrisland, what happened to Desola Adeniran? You people will answer me, no matter what it takes. If it takes my last blood, you will answer me. You will tell me what happened to my daughter. If it is the last night before I die, you will tell me what happened to Desola. You will tell me what happened to my daughter. All this your story of she slumped is a lie. I don't agree.
This is so sad. Our heart goes out to Whitney's parents. May her soul rest in peace. We believe the Lagos State government has ordered the closure of Chrisland School in Okwebi. Well, we have our correspondent, Oba Adeyu, on site to give us updates on what's happening at this moment. Oba, can you please bring us up to speed? Good morning, Oba.
We got here this morning and, good morning. We got here this morning and we met some members of the deceased family at the gate of the school, agitated. And the information we got from them is that the closure of the school by the Lagos State government has not taken any effect. We're told that some activities are still taking place within the school. And obviously they are angry. They will not allow anybody to come out from the school premises or gain access into the school premises. You can see some of them are still at the gate right behind me, while some of them are still scattered around there, expressing their anger with the school authorities for the way they handled the matter. And of course, And of course, their reaction to the Lagos State government directive that the school be shut. So we are still here this morning, and of course, everybody within the neighborhood, are out. They are out, watching what is happening at the school premises. But the guards at the school gate, will not bog to the agitation of their aggrieved family members. But we are still here, keeping a tab on development as they occur from this part of the state.
Well, let's get something straight. Are there students in school today after the Ministry of Education had said that the school had been temporarily closed? Because if you say some activity is still going on, is it that classes are going on, teachers are there, and have you been able to talk to anybody in the school? Maybe the head teacher, maybe the school principal?
Nobody will allow us to enter into the school premises, but we can, hear sound of activities taking place within the school premises. I cannot independently confirm if there are lesson sessions going on there, but I can tell you that there are people within the school premises. There are activities going on within the school premises. Although some of the family members told us that some students, some pupils, are in the school taking lessons as against the directive of the state government. I have one of those agitated family members here. She's the sister to the mother of the deceased. Let me just have a word or two with her. What's your name, madam?
My name is Constance.
Constance what?
Constance.
Are you related with the...
I'm related to the wife.
How?
She's my sister.
Okay. So you told me earlier before I came before the camera that there are students within the school premises. Yes, did you see them?
I saw them. There are students inside the school. Parents are coming to drop their children, and parents are going out. Activities are ongoing already in this school. Even if the state government never asked them to shut down, couldn't they have shut down for courtesy purpose or whatever? So, are they not being patriotic?
What are they telling you? Because I met you at the gate.
They told us that the school is having some meeting with the Ministry of Education. And I doubt if that is true, because there is no how Ministry of Education will walk into that school to have a meeting without his or her entourage.
Okay, so you are telling us now there are pupils inside. Do you see them?
Pupils inside, yes, I saw the pupils. If you can go, their windows, the school windows, classroom windows are open, and classes are ongoing.
All right, thank you, Constance. I'll get back to you. So that's information we got from some family members of the deceased that we met here this morning. And I can also tell you that I saw a couple of cars wanting to enter into the premises. But of course, those family members will not allow them entrance into the premises.
But I can see a police vehicle, a police van just behind you. Is that an escort vehicle, or is there to enforce the directive of the State Ministry of Education? You have any idea what that police vehicle is doing there?
We've not seen much. We've not seen much of the policemen here. I just saw their vehicles there, and a couple of them, standing by, maybe to, be on standby for a possible breakdown of law and order in this environment. But since I came here this morning, I've not seen much of them. They are standing by very close to their vehicles, and they are staying calm, watching activities. Even when the family members of the deceased are agitated and trying, to stop vehicles, turning vehicles back, who wanted to come into the school premises, the policemen remain calm in their vehicles. They remain calm, very close to their vehicles. So not much of activities are coming from the policemen this morning.
Well, all right. Well, thank you very much, Oba, for bringing us up to speed. We're going to stay on the story. Thank you so much indeed. Well, Dr. Abati, over to you. I mean, Chrisland School is back in the news again. Last year, I believe there was some controversy involving one of their schools where, a student was filmed, engaging with some immoral activities in Dubai. A lot of people are outraged. I mean, listening to Oba saying that, activities are ongoing in the school is quite frustrating, Dr. Abati.
Well, I think it's important. First, we commiserate with the affected family, the Naira family. You could see the pain, the anguish, the agony of a mother And I'm sure everyone, whether you're a parent or not, can relate to that. I mean, to lose a child is not anything that anybody prays for. But it's good that the state government has intervened to say we're closing down the school temporarily and that they will do an investigation. And in the course of the investigation, the state government was very clear that where there has been any wrongdoing, the due course of the law would apply. But this time around, I think the school also responded swiftly without necessarily dramatizing the incident. The teachers themselves being parents. I'm aware that they contacted every parent who has a child in Chrisland School, whether in the Okpebe School or in any of their branches, to try to explain what happened. Now, the parents are alleging negligence. The school is saying that the young lady had been ill before, that she did not take part in the march past, that in fact she was not involved in any strenuous activity, and at the Agege Stadium, she was accompanied by her mother. Many of these schools, they do their inter-house sports at a chosen location, and parents usually accompany the children. And, the school also says, they've been interfacing with the family, as they have been doing with other, parents, because, they think caused a general panic, of course, among parents. But I think it's a good thing that the state government is going to investigate and get to the root of the matter. And it would be nice if there could be an autopsy to find out medically what exactly happened. Because the young lady, reportedly went to buy something maybe outside the stadium or within the vicinity with her friends, and then she slumped. So what exactly happened?
Absolutely.
So the parents, they are right to raise questions, to ask questions. And I believe that in the course of the interaction with the school authorities, they will get to the root of it. But unfortunately, whatever is done, will not bring back the dead, which is the most painful, the most unfortunate part of it. A whole life full of hope, full of promise, we've lost that. And that's what makes it really painful.
No parent should ever lose a child. This is so sad.
It's really sad. I watched Mrs. Adeniran's post. It's on her Instagram page where she detailed from her own perspective, from her own account, what transpired on the day. Now, because it's under investigation, we will wait for the results of the investigation to understand, because it's a very sensitive matter, and it's easy for people to get agitated or for emotions to run high, because we're talking about a 12-year-old, a minor who went to school healthy according to the account of her parents, and the next time they saw her, she had passed on. However, the only thing I'd like to spotlight is the importance of health and safety and first aid procedures, especially in organizations or settings where you have the responsibility for young people or vulnerable people, as was in the case of this inter-house sport at Agege Stadium. Initial reports indicate, and the school also alluded to the fact that when she slumped, there was no one on site to attend to her. What happened was that water was poured on her. In fact, her mom said that when she got to the hospital, where she was confirmed dead on arrival by it wasn't a hospital, they said it was a clinic, because that was the closest
immunization center or something like that.
The mom said immunization center, the school said clinic, but it was not a hospital. What they were trying to do was to get her to something that looked like a health service to give her first aid. We shouldn't have to do that. Where you have young people, the mom said they had about 500 students and about 100 parents from the mom's account on ground at Agege Stadium. There ought to have been an emergency response protocol for that. These are young children we're talking about. So before the results come up, we need to begin to talk about, we've talked about this so many times, but where children are involved, we must make health and safety priority.
Absolutely.
So who was the responsible person there? These are some of the questions that Chrisland has to begin to answer even before the full report comes out.
Absolutely. Rufai.
I commiserate with the parents. It's so hard to lose anybody. But sadly, I'll say it will happen again because we don't learn. What will probably happen is when the investigation comes out, we'll see it by ourselves. It'll be tossed out. We'll talk about it. When the media gets tired, we'll move on. And why this repeats itself is because we have a culture of inefficiency, and culture will eat strategy for breakfast. Haven't we stopped talking about Sylvester Romani's case now? Is it not the same measure? The schools were closed. When the schools were closed in Sylvester Romani's case, didn't we hear stories about how these people tried to open up the schools until a protest happened in front of the school? One thing we'll just say is this. Culture will eat strategy for breakfast. For the fact that there was no ambulance on site and doctors that could give emergency care speaks volumes of our system in this country.
Absolutely.
And especially with these private school operators, which when you extrapolate is as a result of even the failure of government and those that regulate them in the first place. So we see this thing one too many. And in the end, do people really get justice? Probably they would drag on the case. But I think it's part of the law. So an autopsy will be done if you die in some circumstances, according to the Lagos coroner law. An autopsy has to be done. Secondly, I think the FCCPC, Federal Bureau of Competition, should be dragged into this. I think they should make a formal request
Absolutely.
to Mr. Babatunde, Dr. Babatunde Ruker as regards this. And let's see how we can pursue this. But with the long arm of the law, these things just stretch. And do people really get justice? That's the sad reality. I know it's not a direct circumstance, but the case of Chef Pedro Goma is still on.
All right.
So these are the things we're talking about in our society. Culture will eat strategy for breakfast. I'm sad to say, Audrey, we'll still come back here and talk about something like this again. I just pray it's not soon enough.
Well, again, may Whitney's soul rest in peace. We'll take our final story discussing the attacks on supporters of the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi over the weekend during what the party has described as the mother of all rallies in Lagos State. Well, before the commencement of the rally at the Tafawa Balewa Square, Peter Obi toured some parts of the state, including Alaba and Idumota, to meet with his supporters and drum up support for his candidacy. The former Anambra State governor was seen in a motorcade amid cheers from supporters who had lined up major roads in the area. Unfortunately, you know, this rally was marred with a lot of attacks. I believe one of your friends was attacked. But this picture of Yusuf Abiola went viral. I thought I should highlight that picture. But what was more important was the attack on his supporters. Really quickly, Ayo.
Yes, we had a robust conversation about this, and it's just unfortunate. Every Nigerian should have a right and the right to choose whomever they want to support, candidate or party, without the fear of attacks. I can't even say reprisal attacks, or what have you done wrong for supporting someone. So these obedience were with paraphernalias of Labour Party were attacked. Please, the Lagos State government must address this concern.
But how is your friend, Ben Iyoha?
Ben Iyoha, yes.
Iyoha.
He showed he had cuts on his body. There's some of them are still in hospital. He's recovering.
With the machete?
Yes, machete, broken bottles, many of them. Jack Conde, Third Mainland Bridge, where we condemn the attacks.
Yes,
very
absolutely.
Well,
thank you, Ojineka. This thing is already playing.
Thank you all for your great analysis, as always.
Thank you.
That's all I have for you on What's Trending today. I'll see you all tomorrow.
And that's all on today's edition of The Morning Show. Rochu Sodire will be here next to take you through Global Business Report. Stay with us. It's still the Arise News Channel.